Chapter 451. That video was his first time replying to Jean Shiyue's love affair. He did it casually, but it caused an uproar on the internet. The die-hard fans of Almighty Superman felt that Almighty Bro was indeed Almighty Bro. Even a loser's counterattack could be described in such a domineering manner. Some female fans expressed their heartbreak. Almighty Bro was already taken, and his competitor was still Jean Shiyue. They hoped that they could be lovers again in their next lives. If not, it would be nice to be a special friend in this life. They would definitely not go to Jean Shiyue's place to make a fuss. But most of them were doubting and slandering him. How can a loser like him be so arrogant? How can he be worthy of our Shiyue? TSK, wearing such lousy clothes. What kind of lousy taste is he? How dare he be with our goddess? If I were you, I'd drown myself to death trying to pick up girls. You still have the cheek to ask me to think about it? Hanging out with a loser like you will only lower the level of our goddess. I just can't stand it when you pick up our goddess. So what? Everyone, quiet down and listen to what I have to say. This Almighty Superman is a liar, a damned liar, a big liar. The naive Shiyue goddess must have been deceived by him. We must expose him. Think about it. Isn't he just an internet celebrity? Who knows if his millions of fans are real or fake? Yes, you can sharpen pencils, race, play the piano, and throw darts, but you're just an internet celebrity. What makes you worthy of Goddess Jean? I was originally a hater, but after reading what the previous poster said, I don't know why, but it seems like he knows a lot of things. Agreed +1. No matter how much he knows, I just can't get used to his arrogant attitude of lecturing others. That's right. Boycott this almighty scum. Let's go beat him up. Those who support me, raise your hands. Hey, raise your hands. Previous poster, you definitely haven't finished watching the video. Please watch the last part before you consider. Damn, he crushed Cola with his bare hands. My mom told me to go do my homework. I'll go beat him up when I'm in high school and stronger. Unlike the fans, Jean Shiyue's circle of friends felt that Chun Guang's response was quite appropriate. He gave Jean Shiyue a proper reply and warned those entertainment paparazzi who didn't care about personal privacy. Especially that sentence. If they stopped dating because of the fans' objections, wouldn't all the celebrities have to spend the rest of their lives alone? Jean Shiyue's friends in the industry deeply felt the same way. It wasn't easy to be an artiste, and it was even more difficult to be a female artiste. Love was a basic human emotion. Who wouldn't be moved when they met someone they were fated to like? But even if they loved each other to death fully, they wouldn't dare to date each other. Even if they did date each other, they would have to do it secretly. They were afraid that once it was exposed, it would be a devastating blow to their career. Jean Shiyue and Chun Guang's high-profile, public display of affection made them green with envy, but they didn't dare to imitate it. At this time, Jean Shiyue was chatting with her close friends in the group. Shiyue's boyfriend is not bad. He's responsible. Although he's a little immature, he's not afraid of anything. This brother can really fight. He crushed Cola with his bare hands. I just asked my retired bodyguard to try, but he said it's not easy to exert strength. It's too difficult. Jean Shiyue laughed and replied, I don't want him to be too mature. He's only 21. That's true. It's a relationship. It's fine as long as you like him. Jiang Yage, who was sitting next to Jean Shiyue, was green with envy. Sister Shiyue, I can't accept this. That's what I should be saying. Jean Shiyue turned around and smiled at Jiang Yage. It's not like you don't know that I'm putting on an act to trick them. I'm sacrificing a lot. Jiang Yage was happy again. Hee, I know you're the best to me, Sister Shiyue. Sigh, I haven't seen him in a long time. I really want to see him. You don't know how many times I've dreamed of him these past few days. How could I not know? Last night, you were sleeping and squeezing my leg with all your might. You're screaming, use strength, use strength. Jiang Yage's face changed. Did I? Jean Shiyue played a recording. Oh, Chun Guang, use strength. Don't stop. Jiang Yage blushed and desperately tried to snatch the phone. At this moment, someone in the WeChat group sent a screenshot. It was Chun Guang's cute declaration on Weibo. The group of women, just a second ago, he was still praising you. You're going too far by involving Jean Shiyue in order to gain popularity. What do you mean by video connection? Although Jean Shuriwe is your girlfriend, she's not an ordinary girl. Do you know how long it takes for an artist like her to talk to her manager and sign a big contract if she wants to appear on a live broadcast platform? You're suddenly talking about video connection? Everyone started to worry. They didn't know if Jean Shuriwe would be angry. Jean Shuriwe and Jiang Yage were also stunned. Jiang Yage chuckled. Why is he doing a live broadcast again? He's finally enlightened. Does he want to be a celebrity? Sigh. It's just that his acting skills are too crazy. When he's good, we were all shocked. When he's bad, it's simply devastating. The few hours we wasted previously almost made Big Beard Deng lose all his beard and anxiety. Jean Shuriwe wasn't unhappy at all. Instead, she was secretly happy that she could help Chen Guang. She actually wanted to use her own Weibo to repost the video, but she felt that it wasn't appropriate. She was worried that it would make Jiang Yage suspicious. She didn't want her little happiness from enjoying a relationship on Weibo to hurt Jiang Yage. Deep in her heart, her willfulness was only at this level. Unexpectedly, Jiang Yage clapped her hands. I was worried that I couldn't see him. I sent him a bunch of messages on WeChat, but he didn't reply to me. Video connection after 5 million people. That's a good idea. Let's help him repost it. His words are like spilled water. He can't just go back on his word, right? Before she could finish speaking, Jiang Yage reposted the video using her own account. Then, she urged Jean Shuriwe to repost it too. That wasn't all. She even went to the WeChat group and said, "Everyone, hurry and let my brother-in-law repost it. Let him surpass 5 million people." Since Jiang Yage was like this, Jean Shuriwe also sent a smiley face. Everyone, help him out. It's rare that he wants to do something seriously. The WeChat group that Jean Shuriwe and Jiang Yage were in was a small circle of the top celebrities in the country. There were no managers or reporters in the group, only superstars. The left-handed and right-handed duo were among the top A-listers in the country. Ever since they debuted at the age of 10, they had never failed in any of their productions, be it in the ratings or box office. The albums that they released had never failed either. Even in the current downturn of the recording industry, their albums that were released once every 2 years easily sat firmly in the top 3 best-selling albums of the year. They were also a frequent guest on the top Chinese music chart. Their all-round development in film, television, and singing, coupled with their perfect artistic talent, excellent image and temperament, years of hard work, and constantly releasing new works that caught people's eyes. Most importantly, they had a background that no one dared to offend. This allowed the 20-year-olds to stand at the top of the celebrity pyramid along with many of the older generation. Of course, the two of them were not considered juniors in the industry. After all, they debuted too early. Although they were young, they still had 10 years of experience. In a WeChat group, other than Jean Shuriwe and Jiang Yage, there were also 2 or 3 A-listers in the country. There were also about a dozen people who were on the same level as their left-handed and right-handed counterparts. As for the A-listers and B-listers who were below them, there were even more of them. As for those C-listers who had just starred in 1 or 2 popular dramas and gained some fame, they would not be able to enter unless they were recommended and recognized by everyone. Jean Shuriwe and Jiang Yage had never asked for help in this group before. With their status, there was no need for them to ask for help from others. But this time, the situation was different. Jiang Yage spoke first, and Jean Shuriwe nodded again. She wanted to create popularity for her boyfriend. It was not a formal matter, but it meant a lot to some people. There were many people in the group who wanted to do Jean Shuriwe a favor, but could not find an entry point. Now, she finally spoke. A minute later, A-lister and crosstalk actor Yu Yunfeng posted on Weibo. Sister Shuriwe's boyfriend, Brother Guang, is doing a live broadcast. Oh my god, this is amazing. I can't take it anymore. Oh my god, invincible. Quite a lot. Brother Guang, did you beat someone up again? 2 minutes later, B-lister Lin Jia reposted Chen Guang's Weibo. 5 minutes later, A-lister and famous actor Hu Gu posted on Weibo. That's right, it was a direct post and not a repost. Shuriwe Goddess's boyfriend, Brother Chen Guang, is doing a live broadcast on Bamboo Dota. Fans alike this game. Go and support him. Attached is the link. 6 minutes later, A lister, an Asian heavenly king, Li Junjia posted on Weibo. 4,000 points ladder contestants look up to the gods. China's first 10,000 points giant god, Shuriwei goddess's boyfriend, Almighty Qingguang, is doing a live broadcast on Bamboo Dota. I'm going to write a song for him. 6 minutes later. In short, there were at least 30 to 40 people in this group who either reposted or wrote their own Weibo posts. But this was not the end. Superstars gathered to join in the fun, and it could cause a chain reaction. When other C-listers and D-listers saw this, they became anxious. Oh my God, all the big stars are supporting, I have to support too. At least I can pull them into the circle. What's more, Jin Shuyue's boyfriend is something new. We also want the number of people to surpass 500,000 to see his looks. This was simply like dominoes, one after another. That evening, the internet was flooded with comments about Qingguang. Weibo exploded. The entertainment industry also became lively. All the major Q groups, WeChat groups, and Tieba exploded. Even if he was beaten to death, he would never have thought that something he came up with on a whim would cause such a huge commotion on the internet. Chapter 452. Qingguang had no idea what was going on outside. He was busy fighting, so he didn't have the time to check on a number of viewers. He gave Zhuo Jingxi a call and told her that he had some matters to attend to. From the looks of it, he wouldn't be able to return tonight. That's right, he planned to rush to the top of the Southeast Asian server in one go. Wasn't it just 500 points? Wasn't it just winning 20 rounds in a row? How big of a deal was that? There weren't many people who liked Dota. Normally, the number of viewers in Dota, even if it was the finals of a top competition, wouldn't exceed 4 million. Moreover, there were a lot of fake viewers. God knew how many of them were zombie fans. Those who didn't understand the game wouldn't be able to understand it no matter how amazing Qingguang's maneuvers were. The gaming circle was actually quite a closed circle. No matter how famous the people in this circle were, even if they were the world champions, only the young people who liked the game would know about it. Those who were slightly older, or those who didn't like this game, but another game, wouldn't know about it all. The majority of the viewers who came through the celebrities' Weibo posts couldn't understand the exquisite maneuvers in Qingguang's livestream. At most, they would only exclaim when Qingguang double-killed, triple-killed, quadruple-killed, or even went berserk. Was this game so simple? Just by watching this person move his mouse here and there, he could kill everyone? But even if they couldn't understand it, it didn't stop these people from staying in the live stream. They were still thinking about Qingguang's looks and the video connection with Jin Shuyue. Qingguang's Weibo post had effectively kept non-gamers here. Therefore, Qingguang's live stream completely exploded. Ever since Jin Jiang and Jin Shuyue reposted it, the number of viewers started to increase from 300,000 to 600,000, 1 million, 1,800,000, 3 million, 5,500,000. It didn't stop. It was still increasing. Little Song had already transferred more than half of the server resources of the entire website to Qingguang's livestream. At first, he was considering whether he should send some zombie fans to Qingguang to boost his popularity. However, after seeing the situation, he realized that there was no need for that. There was really no need for that. Little Song watched as the number of registered users soared, then looked at the popularity of Qingguang's livestream that exploded in the livestream industry. His face was almost crooked from smiling. Since the beginning of Bamboo live streaming, he has used many ways to promote his popularity, such as finding celebrities to do live streaming, signing Korean girl groups, or poaching well-known anchors from other platforms. Although these business methods are quite effective, in the past 6 months, Bamboo has not succeeded in surpassing soy milk to become the #1 in the industry. In the end, the guy that Zhongbai introduced was really awesome. The last time he played the piano, the popularity of Bamboo's live broadcast skyrocketed. This time, it brought him directly to the sky. I didn't think that there would be a day when Little Song could be brought to the sky by someone. After today, the number of new registered users is more than the countless business methods in the past 3 months combined. Little Song was a businessman. He also knew that although the other party was giving him such a good opportunity because of their friendship, he couldn't silently take advantage of such a big advantage. After today, If this person still wanted to work in the live stream industry, the contract that others poached from him would be at least 8 figures a year. Therefore, after thinking about it, he called Zhong Bai. At first, he wanted to throw out a contract of 20 million a year because he thought it was worth it. However, when he heard from Zhong Bai that this god directly snatched away nearly 200 million in assets in the racing competition, and then thought about the other party's identity as Jin Shiyue's boyfriend, Little Tsong looked at the contract that his secretary had just prepared and hesitated. For other anchors, this was simply enough to make people rush up and beg for the contract. However, it didn't seem to be very attractive to this brother Chen Guang. He began to worry again. What should he do? At this time, the outside world was in full swing, but it didn't affect Chen Guang's performance at all. His game was almost at the end, and he was leading his other 4 teammates to stand on the enemy's high ground. Some people who originally suspected that he was playing on behalf of others were already in the internet cafe with their mouths wide open and eyes blinded. With 9,500 points, he actually led 4 teammates with 5,000 points to crush an opponent with an average of 6,000 points. From start to finish, he maintained an absolute suppression. What was even more frightening was that the game character he was controlling displayed perfect control. Every movement, every skill release, the control of attack, defense, and development rhythm, as well as the prediction of where to fog and chase. It was all too perfect. It was so perfect that it didn't seem like it was being controlled by a human. It was more like a machine, and it was a robot with a blueprint. The owner of the internet cafe, who had promised him 5,000 yuan, couldn't say a word from start to finish. Brother, you really are blinding my eyes. It turned out that you, Godwan Qingxi, had fought your way up to the top with your own strength, without mixing it up. Finally, about half an hour into the game, the other party helplessly typed GG. After easily winning the game, Chen Guang switched to the screen to look at the situation in the live broadcast room. He was blinded by the dense barrage of comments. When he looked at the number of people online, he couldn't believe his eyes. 34 million people online? Damn, I only played a game for half an hour, and they really gave me so many people? No wonder the screen was full of comments calling me a liar. I didn't look good, and I didn't have a video call with Jin Shiyue. How could I have thought of this situation? How could I come out in the middle of a team battle and turn on the camera? *T. That *T live broadcast announcement that I posted on Weibo was so powerful. Why can't I believe my own eyes? I only have a little more than 10 million fans, and with a shout, more than 8 million viewers came? My fan conversion rate is so high. That's right, that's for sure. I'm an almighty Superman. Alright, this is still *T. So what's wrong with this world? Then, he immediately gave Little Tsong a call and asked if this brother had deliberately manipulated zombie fans backstage to cause trouble and forcefully gather 5 million viewers to stir up trouble. Unexpectedly, Little Tsong insisted that the number of people in the audience was definitely not fake. They were all real, living people. Now, 3/4 of the entire live broadcast platform servers are in your live broadcast room. Little Tsong still wanted to say something, but Chen Guang hung up on him. I'm in a daze right now, and I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. I just casually said that I wanted to find Jin Shiyue for a video call, but I didn't expect it to come true. What should I do now? Turning on the camera was a small matter. With my handsome and domineering face, I'll definitely be able to get all 8 million people to become my fans. Alright, boss. Does your camera have a beautifying function? No. Forget it. I'll not turn on the camera. I'm a skilled player, and I still have to rely on my strength to make a living. Although my looks are heaven-defying, I can't be so superficial. Chapter 453. His head hurt. He had already sent out the message, but when he called just now, Jin Shiyue was obviously filming on the set. She must be busy now. How could he call her for a video call? Besides, she was such a big shot. Although she claimed to be his girlfriend, in reality, it wasn't like that at all. It was indeed too much to bother her like this. The countless viewers in the live stream, seeing that Chen Guang had already finished a round without any movement, started to make a ruckus again. What scammer, what malicious hype, all sorts of words came out. The small number of real Dota players in the audience completely suppressed the discussion about the game. It couldn't be helped. There were all kinds of birds in the forest. The purpose of these people in the live stream wasn't to see Chen Guang himself or to see him play the game. It was just to see Jin Shuriwei. Towards the overwhelming abuse and doubts in the bullet screen, Chen Guang only smiled calmly and then blocked the bullet screen. He had to block it. It was really infuriating. Without the bullet screen, it was much quieter. Brother Chen Guang, I know why there's so many people in your live stream. A guy sitting beside him was scrolling through Weibo. Chen Guang turned his head and looked, only to find that countless celebrities were either reposting or personally writing on Weibo to promote his live stream. He counted with his fingers and cursed in his heart. According to the advertising fees of internet celebrities, how much advertising fees would he owe? Oh, it's okay, I'm not familiar with those people anyway, and I didn't ask them to post it. You don't have to pay? I'll just pretend that nothing happened. Fine, let them scold. Anyway, the main purpose of my live stream is for the Dota statue of God. Don't be fooled by the popularity of the live stream. Those who don't like Dota will obviously not provide a single cent of faith for the Dota statue of God. It doesn't matter even if those who are clamoring to cancel their subscriptions run away. Just as he was about to switch back to the game interface, Jin Shuriwei took the initiative to call. When he answered, the person speaking was actually Jiang Yage. Hello. Didn't you say that you would video call when the number reached 5 million? Sister Shuriwei and I have been waiting for you here for a long time. Why don't you turn on the computer and play the video? Stop fooling around. I'm just spouting nonsense. Jiang Yage panicked. How can you say that? Sister Shuriwei and I have reposted it. So many people have reposted it. If you go back on your word, the consequences will be very serious. It'll ruin my reputation. So serious? Jiang Yage nodded heavily. It's that serious. Quick, we have to start shooting in a few minutes. We won't be able to chat for a few minutes. Just show your face a little. Chen Guang rolled his eyes. If he didn't turn on a video call, he would be targeted instead. He first asked the boss to turn on the webcam and microphone before logging into QQ. As soon as he did so, Jin Shuriwei's video request popped up. After connecting the video, Jin Shuriwei's beautiful face appeared on the screen. At this time, her hair was tied up in a bun. It was obvious that she was in a costume drama. Even if it was a low-quality video call, it still couldn't diminish her beauty. She smiled sweetly at the camera, but the first thing she said was not to Chen Guang. Instead, she said, "Hello everyone in the live stream room. I'm Jin Shuriwei. I'm very happy to see everyone here. Please support my boyfriend like how you support me." Just as Jin Shuriwei finished speaking, Jiang Yage also moved her face over and blinked at the camera. She even squeezed Jin Shuriwei's head to the side. "I finally get to see you. Support your left and right hand. Support brother-in-law." On the other side, Jin Shuriwei snatched the camera back. "Here, we've connected. The stage manager is calling us over to shoot the movie. We'll go offline first." Jiang Yage moved her face over again. "Everyone, don't scold brother-in-law for not keeping his word. Otherwise, we'll be angry." The video call was really connected. Not only was there Jin Shuriwei, but there was also Jiang Yage. The moment Jin Shuriwei opened her mouth, she called him her boyfriend. Jiang Yage said brother-in-law every time she opened her mouth. "Sai, do you guys have to be so overboard with your public display of affection? Are you trying to kill us single dogs?" The old men in the live stream room held their hearts and cried out in pain. The internet cafe colleagues behind Chen Guang were also crying for help. Although her left and right hand weren't high and mighty, no one could see what they were like in private. Usually, these two people were elusive. But for her man, she actually took time out between filming to do a video call. No one would have thought that Jin Shuriwei would go to such an extent for her boyfriend. If he had such a wife, what else could he ask for? Too much. This was simply too much. Merciless abuse. Chen Guang hung up the video call. His mind wasn't thinking about Jin Shuriwei. Instead, he felt that Jiang Yage's eyes were blinking strangely. The frequency seemed to be too high. What was she hinting at? "Brother, you're practically the god of picking up girls. I'm gonna kneel down for you." The guy sitting next to Chen Guang turned his head and patted Chen Guang's shoulder heavily. His eyes were filled with admiration. Chen Guang unblocked the bullet screen and was speechless. He didn't know who started the rhythm of the bullet screen, but the screen was filled with 4 words. God of picking up girls. Oh my, I really need a god of picking up girls. Although the time of the video call was short, it satisfied the majority of the audience. There weren't many people scolding in the bullet screen. After all, he had already done what he said. During this time, the number of people in a live broadcast room had gradually increased to 9 million. Not only were the audience from Bamboo Live broadcast gathered here, but many people were even pulled over from other platforms. If it was an anchor who truly intended to devote himself to the live broadcast industry, he would be so excited that he wouldn't even know what his surname was. But at this time, Chun Guang was thinking in his heart. He didn't know how many fanatical fans he could produce among these 9 million viewers. Popularity was all illusory. Faith was the real thing. In fact, he also knew that he shouldn't have too much hope. There were less than 100 fans who could contribute double digits like Ru Fei or Wu Pan Junyao to the title of God of Racing on a global scale. Fanatical fans weren't that easy to come by. It required the other party to be completely liberated from the body and soul before they could produce extreme worship in the depths of their hearts. Oh my, Thailand's dead sissies' physical and mental liberation seemed a bit scary. All right, don't think about those useless things. Turning off the video, Chun Guang left a voice message and said, "Thank you, everyone, for your support today. Those who love Dota Dota, please stay behind and witness a miracle with me. As for the rest, you guys can go back to what you're busy with. I'll show you guys another day. No matter what you guys like, I'll appear before you guys sooner or later." He began to crazily increase his points. After a short video call, the number of people in a live broadcast room gradually began to drop. This was also a normal phenomenon. After all, most of the audience came for the video call with Jin Shurue. These people were satisfied, but they also knew that there wouldn't be another video call in a short period of time. They didn't understand the game, so there was no point in continuing to stay here. 9 million, 8 million, 7 million. In the end, when a number of people dropped to more than 5 million, it finally stopped dropping. At this time, most of the people who were willing to stay were Dota players. The reason for them to stay was also very simple. In the previous game, the skills that Chun Guang had displayed were really out of this world. His Celestial Stairway points were also really high. These people were the people that he really needed to witness his magnificent feat. However, it wasn't completely without benefits. In less than half an hour, Chun Guang changed from a nameless newcomer in the industry who had just started live streaming to the top live streamer in this industry. If there were a total of 2 million real viewers in the evening of the national Dota Live broadcast, Chun Guang personally diverted 3/4 of them. This was a rare thing in the entire industry, not to mention that he was a newcomer who had just started live streaming. He even attracted many Dota players who used to only watch live broadcasts on other platforms. In fact, these people were initially moved by the clamor on the internet and came for Jin Shiryue's video call. However, they were real Dota players. They could understand Chun Guang's skills. This place was like a black hole to them. Once they came, they couldn't leave. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. Chun Guang climbed to the top of the Southeast Asian server with a terrifying record of 20 consecutive wins. Extremely perfect skills, never making mistakes in team battles, crushing the enemy with the wind, going against the wind to save the world. Every game was a highlight of his perfect control, and the audience was blown away. It was already 3 o'clock in the morning. When he announced that he had succeeded today and was preparing to go offline, there were still more than 500,000 live fans left in the live broadcast room. Although he went home to sleep, the legend remained in internet cafes, tieba, and forums. Although I'm a professional player, I've also become his fan. I've never thought that one person could play the game to this extent. I used to think that the top players were all in the professional teams, and that the upper limit of the amateur players would definitely not be able to catch up with the professional players. But now I realize that I was wrong. I was ridiculously wrong. I don't understand how he did it at all. He's a freak, a miracle in the history of esports. His appearance can advance the standard of esports by 20 years. He's the epitome of perfection, the epitome of unparalleled strength. He turned a game of 5 people into a domain of 1 person. This was the first time Guang had used a live broadcast to show the perfect skills he had obtained in the hellish training grounds of Dota to the world. He used his undeniable strength to conquer every player in the live broadcast room, completely shattering all doubts and negations on the internet. The next day, at 10 o'clock in the morning, Guang woke up on time and went to the internet cafe to continue his live broadcast. The number of people waiting in the internet cafe today was at least several times that of yesterday. The internet cafe was so crowded that it was almost impossible to stand. Yesterday, the news of him winning 20 consecutive games and rushing to the top of the game had spread throughout the 5 capitals. The boss was also very quick-witted to publicize this news to increase the popularity of the internet cafe. Guang did not comment on this. The more people sitting in the internet cafe and watching his first-person view on TV, the better. It was another day of fierce battles. Just because 2 of their teammates had lost a match in 1 match, they won 30 matches to their heart's content. Starting from 8,000 points in the US server, they reached the top in just 1 day and stopped at 8,750 points. At least 200 people came to the internet cafe early in the morning and stayed until midnight. When Guang got up and was ready to leave, the internet cafe in the middle of the night was filled with thunderous applause. The 1.7 million viewers on the platform were also sending gifts like crazy and sending comments like crazy. Not bad. His audience had increased again today. Yesterday, there were still a lot of people who did not come to the other station. Today, they finally came. Guang was getting closer and closer to the top of the 4 servers. Chapter 454. On the 3rd day, the number of livestream viewers increased to 2 million. This time, even players who were not from Dota Tower, but players from Playing with Dogs next door came. Who wouldn't like a live stream that was always winning and showing off every second? Even if they didn't know much about Dota, MOBA games were all the same. On the 4th day, the American server reached the top, and the number of viewers exceeded 5 million. On the 5th day, they started to attack the European server again. Other platforms, such as Soy Milk live streaming, announced that they were poaching Guang with an annual salary of 20 million. Although Guang was tempted, he ignored them. Compared to the money, he cared more about the faith points. Currently, people who knew him came directly to Bamboo platform to watch the live stream. Seeing that the statue of Dota was almost in his hands, he didn't want any trouble to happen. If he moved now, he would lose popularity, and if he lost popularity, he would lose faith points. In addition, he didn't believe that Xiao Tsong, who had always worked well with him, wouldn't do nothing. On the 6th day, Xiao Tsong came personally. He didn't come alone, but came to the internet cafe with Zhong Bai to find him. Xiao Tsong and Zhong Bai had a very good relationship, and Zhong Bai was someone that Guang trusted. With Zhong Bai as the middleman, everything could be discussed easily. During a short break at noon, the 3 of them sat together in a private room in Jingyao Pavilion. Guang didn't expect Xiao Tsong to come personally. This was much more sincere than other platforms. When he saw the contract that little Tsong had sent him, he was also shocked. Bamboo live streaming's current market valuation was close to $200 million, and Xiao Tsong owned about 70% of the shares. In this contract, he used some unknown means to convince the other shareholders to directly give Guang 5% of the shares, and the other shareholders' shares would be reduced proportionally. This meant that Guang, including the last time he played the piano and the 6 days of Dota, had a total of 7 days of live streaming. He earned $10 million, which was equivalent to 60 million renminbi in China. This was much more shocking than the annual salary of 20 million yuan offered by other platforms. This was a huge amount of cash that had been transferred to his account, and it had made him one of the major shareholders of Bamboo live streaming. That was not all. In addition to the proportion of shares, there was also a work contract. Unlike other people's annual salary contracts, Little Tsong seemed to know that he was just playing around, so he simply prepared an hourly contract for him. Every hour of live broadcast, he would earn 10,000 yuan. This meant that if he could live 8 hours a day like other full-time broadcasters, his annual salary would be close to 30 million yuan. Chen Guang thought to himself, although I'm happy that you're giving me money for free, things happen too suddenly, and I don't understand at all. This money was not money at all. Brother, what do you think highly of me? Am I worth the price? Brother Chen Guang, in fact, I should have come to you 2 days ago. However, in order to convince the other shareholders, I delayed it a little. I finally settled it last night, so I flew over from Shanghai this morning. Are you satisfied with this contract? If there's no problem, please sign it. We can handle the rest of the procedures slowly. Little Song looked at Chen Guang with a smile and put the pen in front of Chen Guang. He believed that no one could refuse the contract he proposed, such a temptation. In a sense, he was indeed giving money for free. Am I worth this price? Unexpectedly, Chen Guang did not take his pen, but asked, Of course it's worth it. Let me tell you a few figures. Before you started live streaming, our platform had about 30 million registered users, and the number of active users was less than 10 million. In just a few days, the number of registered users skyrocketed to 40 million, and the number of active users increased by 3 million. As the CEO of Bamboo Live Streaming, I shouldn't disclose these things to my live streamers, but Chen Guang, you're different from others, so I'll tell you this. My team has done accurate calculations. If we want to achieve this user growth by advertising, we have to maintain advertising expenses of at least 30 million per month for 3 months. You may not know this, but you used 6 days to expand our platform by 30% out of thin air. Little Song concluded, so in this account, it's because you didn't ask us for advertising fees, or else you would still be at a loss. That's why I really want to keep you. To be honest, I'm very afraid that other platforms will poach you, which will cause a heavy blow to me. In the beginning, we just casually cooperated, and I really didn't expect to create a giant in the live streaming industry. You must know that you're currently streaming a relatively small number of games. Chen Guang was happy. Then I really have unintentionally planted a willow tree. In fact, there were some things that Little Song didn't say clearly. The most important factor that prompted him to make this decision was actually not what he said. He could be considered half an insider in the industry, and he knew a little about Jean Shiyue's background. He was even more clear that with a family like Jean Shiyue's, once she announced her love life to the public and confirmed their relationship, this pair would basically be able to grow up far away. He didn't just invest in Chen Guang, but also Jean Shiyue's boyfriend, who was more likely to be her future son-in-law. To be able to tie him to the same boat as this son-in-law before he ascended to the throne, a mere 60 million renminbi investment was really worth it. As they chatted, Chen Guang actually understood in his heart. Why did his live streaming room explode in popularity? It couldn't be separated from the celebrity publicity that Jean Shiyue and Jiang Yage did during the broadcast that day. Most of the face that Little Song gave him was for Jean Shiyue. Then the problem was that he and Jean Shiyue didn't really have that level of relationship. If it was a thick-skinned man, he might have happily picked up this big bargain. But Chen Guang wasn't that kind of person. He always felt uncomfortable. At that time, he used Jean Shiyue's name as a joke to gain popularity and thought that it was an impossible situation. It really happened, and he really connected with Jean Shiyue and Jiang Yage. At that time, he was actually quite embarrassed, feeling that he owed her a huge favor. Now, he still continued to use Jean Shiyue's name to swindle and deceive. He shouldn't be like this. But now, in front of him, there was another new need. This time, the Dota God statue was about to be erected, but what about the other statues in the future? If he wanted to collect faith and make more people worship him, the most reliable method was, of course, to become a celebrity. But first, he couldn't sing. Second, he couldn't act. Third, he didn't know how to put on a show. Fourth, he didn't know how to do variety shows. His face was barely passable, but he was still miles away from being extremely handsome. In short, he wanted to be a celebrity, but he didn't have the talent to become a top celebrity. Currently, the skills that he knew were all unorthodox. It was not a bad idea to participate in the rally competition and become the overlord of the official competition. This way, he could often show his face on Central TV Department 5. For example, The reputation of the racing king Schumacher would definitely not be lower than that of an A-list superstar. Unfortunately, he did not have the time to do so. Azure's demand for the idol was getting bigger and bigger, and he was extremely busy. He had to build a new idol and earn more faith points. It was really impossible for him to be a professional racer and participate in the race day by day. Other than racing, the other skills that he knew were all unorthodox. It was completely impossible for him to rely on traditional artists to debut and mingle in the entertainment industry. The rise of the live streaming industry had given him a brand new path. In the future, if he wanted to build a statue of God, he could do both live streaming and Weibo at the same time. He would definitely get twice the results with half the effort. He could totally embark on the path of an unorthodox, all-round superstar. Little Tsong was indeed very sincere. If he could work well with him, it would definitely be a win-win situation. You earn money, I earn money, and I collect faith. Everyone would be happy. He understood the logic, but this contract had to be signed. As a man, no matter how shameless he was, he still had to have a bottom line. Seeing that he was actually hesitating, Little Tsong was also shocked and quickly gave Zhongbai a look. Zhongbai rolled his eyes and ignored Little Kong. How would I dare to, but in on brother racing God's matters? I'll let him think it through himself. Otherwise, if I make him unhappy, wouldn't I tear it apart for those guys? There are a few problems. First, my live streaming time might not be fixed. I don't think it's worth it for you to invest in me like this. I don't deserve to receive these shares. Second, if I do live streaming in the future, it will most likely not be Dota. I will often come up with some unorthodox methods, such as the piano performance, sharpening pencils, or throwing darts. Actually, I don't want anything else. I just want popularity. Shen Guang said. Little Tsong slapped his thigh. It's good that you want popularity. The more popular you are, the more popular my website will be, and the more valuable it will be. Isn't that good? No. You might not understand what I mean. I don't want money. I only want popularity. So, you can use the shares that you're going to give me or my salary as publicity expenses. Spend it all on me. Huh? I don't want money. I just want publicity. Little Tsong felt that he had heard wrongly. Don't joke around. Who doesn't want money? I don't want money. I just want publicity. My next plan might be to make myself a star, but I'll be different from ordinary stars. This is because all I know are unorthodox methods. Some things might not be that interesting, and I won't be able to attract many people. However, I want you to think of ways to make me popular. As long as I start broadcasting, the actual audience cannot be less than 1 million. The more the better. I want every live streaming, no matter what the content is, I want the best publicity. Even if you lose money, you have to do it. Shen Guang thought it through very clearly. Money was a worldly possession that could not be brought with him in life or death. However, if he could continuously collect faith and promote the statue, he could speed up the process of promoting the world in a cup. After completing all the world in a cup, he could save Lori. She was the God Emperor of the endless God world. He could even become the Lord of the 3,000 worlds, a godlike existence. This universe of his was just one of the countless planes in Lori's father's body. If I do well, the entire world, the entire universe will be mine. Do I still need this bit of money? I'm a person with aspirations and ideals. Okay? There was no need to say which was more important. Chapter 455. What he threw to Little Tsong was a big pie in the sky. He didn't want money. He just wanted popularity. Little Tsong would be more motivated to do things, and the website would become bigger and stronger. That would be his pure profit. What he wanted the most now was faith points, and he wanted to earn money. That way, everyone would be happy. Okay, I won't take advantage of you for nothing. You want popularity? I'll give it to you. Let's create a star together. An unconventional superstar that's completely different from traditional celebrities. Actually, I signed those Korean girl groups and new celebrities to create a star through live streaming. Unfortunately, it wasn't very successful before. But if it's an almighty Superman like you, I think I can put up a fight. Previously, I prepared a 5-year contract for you. Currently, the shares are worth 60 million. The hourly salary is 10,000, and the annual salary is about 30 million. How about this? No matter what you want to broadcast, I'll create at least 50 million in advertising fees from you every year. This has to be written in the contract. Also, if your live streaming time is long enough and you're popular enough, the advertising fees can increase. There's no upper limit. Anyway, your live streaming room is with me, and the popularity is with my website. Little Tsong slapped his thigh. It was settled. Zhongbai was happy. He had personally witnessed Chen Guang racing, throwing darts, and playing the piano. Although he didn't know where Chen Guang learned those messy skills, he knew that if Chen Guang really wanted to do something, even if it was just taking a dump in the toilet, it would definitely be shocking. He had much more confidence in Chen Guang than the average person. Zhongbai patted little Tsong's shoulder. Don't worry, I won't let you down. Zhongbai absolutely didn't dare to believe it. If he was really tricked by the heavenly holy grail and forced to that extent, it wasn't like he couldn't broadcast the matter of taking a dump. Next, little Tsong signed the last-minute revised contract, and it was done. After that, Chen Guang returned to the internet cafe to start his live streaming. Little Tsong was indeed awesome. After returning, he started to crazily advertise, and the number of viewers in his live streaming room once again exceeded 3 million. The 7th day. This was a day worthy of commemoration by all the Dota players around the world. To Chen Guang, it was also an extremely important day. When the words Tianhui's victory appeared on the screen, he had finally reached 10,000 points in the last American server. At the same time, on the platform of the Cloud City's wall, the 100-meter-tall statue of Dota slowly rose. The image of the statue given by the Holy Grail was not bad. It was a huge round shield, which symbolized Dota's highest honor, the champion shield of the International Invitational Tournament. Chen Guang had never participated in an International Invitational Tournament before, but he had hidden the champion's shield in his own cup world. Chen Guang's mind entered the world in the cup. He was also looking forward to seeing how much faith the statue would give him. In the outside world, the Sword Tower Circle was in a frenzy. The first great god in history was born. There was no one before him, and perhaps no one in the future would be able to do so. Whether it was domestic or foreign Dota enthusiasts, after seeing the data on the data network, they were all stunned. After clicking in to see the results, it was even more unbelievable. All kinds of exclamations of, "Oh my God, my seventh granduncle," rang out one after another. The players who didn't watch the live stream and followed Chen Guang all the way up didn't understand how someone could create such a miracle at all. But for those who watched until now, there were only exclamation marks in their minds. Countless faith points emerged from these people's minds and rushed straight to the sky, crossing thousands of mountains and rivers, heading straight to where Chen Guang was. At this time, Chen Guang stood under the champion's shield, put his hand on it, and quietly felt the faith points that were gradually surging up. After a long time, he opened his eyes in satisfaction. In fact, the harvest was already very good. The nonsensical idea of 10,000 fanatical fans was impossible. Every fanatical fan was a rare resource that could only be encountered and not sought. The entire Sword Tower Circle provided him with a total of about 100 fanatical fans. Ordinary fans and casual fans were all at the level of 100,000. On average, the Dota statue's daily faith income was as much as 10,000, almost half of the income of Otto's statue. One had to know that the source of the Otto statue's faith was almost 70% of the world's population. There were less than 1 million Sword Tower players in the world. Relying on a higher proportion of fanatical fans and a smaller fan base, it generated close to half of the income of Otto's statue, increasing Chen Guang's daily total income to a little more than 30,000. To be honest, this was actually already a pleasant surprise. At this time, a notification suddenly sounded in his heart. It was the familiar electronic voice of the heavenly Holy Grail. The total amount of faith points has reached 150,000. Do you want to activate the acceleration of the world in the cup? Accelerate? What did that mean? That means if the next world in the cup appears 10 days later, you can pay the faith points to accelerate it once, which can reduce the time by about 1 day. Azure's voice came at the right time. Although I really want to become the master of the 3,000 worlds as soon as possible, I've never done anything like the world in the cup in the sky. I'm a little nervous. Actually, I'd rather it be slower. Speed up my ass. Chen Guang rolled his eyes. Azure chuckled. I'm sorry. I've already helped you to accelerate it. Don't worry. I can still protect you in the world in the cup. You won't die. Damn you. What did you say? Why is the sun so round today? Scram. Azure kicked Chen Guang away. Before he fell, she even reminded him, don't forget, you only have 52 days left. You still need a few statues. Chen Guang cursed Azure in his heart, but he still obtained some useful information. Azure had previously said that customizing a world in the acting cup required about 6 million faith points. Now, the cost of accelerating it for a day was 150,000. This meant that the frequency of the world in the cup in the sky was much higher than the frequency of seeing the spirit in the sky, about once a month and a half. At least he could breathe a sigh of relief. Just like before, there would be sudden attacks from time to time, which was a little too scary. He was looking forward to it and worried at the same time. What kind of style would his first world in the one-line sky cup be? Fortunately, there would be a notification one day in advance. When the time came, it shouldn't be too bad, right? After Azure kicked Chen Guang away, she turned around and flew to the center of Cloud City. Just as she was about to sit back on the computer, she suddenly heard a faint voice beside her. Is he like this now? How disappointing. Azure raised her eyebrows and turned around sharply. Then, she said loudly, How did you get here? At this moment, on the ground in front of her, there stood a delicate and beautiful flower. It was about a foot tall, and its 6 crystal-clear petals were shining with an emerald green light. It was swaying nonstop in the windless center of Cloud City. Following Azure's words, this flower actually spoke. That's right, it was really speaking. Its petals opened and closed, and then a beautiful female voice was heard. The tone was cold, but it was pleasant to listen to. I wrote a letter to you and hid it next to his god's fury. When his god's fury broke through space and came, my letter came along with it. The god's wrath that this flower was talking about was actually the white light that tore apart Chen Guang's non-existent body in the universe when the heavenly holy grail broke through to the one-line sky from Jianling's sky. Dear Cry, you're too daring. How dare you tamper with his god's wrath? Aren't you afraid that something will happen to your soul? Azure rolled her eyes. She was about to break down because of this flower. This flower named Dear Cry sighed. You're right. Something did happen. The letter I wrote was torn to pieces by God's wrath halfway, but it turned into this wisp of soul again. So that's it. What about your real body? Azure asked nervously. Dear Cry trembled. I don't know. This wisp of my soul has also lost contact with my real body. At first, this soul couldn't be condensed. After he came in just now, I borrowed some of his dharma and barely condensed this flower. Azure covered her forehead. Why did you write me a letter for no reason? I really admire you. Dear Cry's tone was still indifferent, but it seemed to be a little wronged. It's been 80 million years since you left, and I'm very unhappy alone. Her voice became lower and lower as she spoke, as if she was extremely tired after just transforming. The branches of Dear Cry that grew on the ground gradually bent, and the flower buds drooped down, no longer moving. Since then, in the empty world in the cup, there was a new person, Dear Cry Flower. Chen Guang, who had already left, naturally didn't know what happened in the world in the cup. He turned off the live broadcast and stood up to accept the worship and cheers of countless people in the internet cafe. The internet cafe owner was so excited that his face turned red. He rushed up and wanted to hug Chen Guang, and his 2 sausage lips kissed Chen Guang's face. Brother, you're my brother. You're too strong. I hereby announce that from now on, you're a lifetime honorary member of my internet cafe. You don't need to pay to surf the internet here. Every time you come, I'll give you a bottle of green tea. Chen Guang placed his palm on Su Tao's face and pulled Su Tao's head back. What the fuck? You're just a crappy internet cafe, and you're still a lifetime honorary member? Your skin is comparable to mine. Move. Move your sausage mouth that can hold 2 tails of oil. He struggled to break free from the internet cafe owner's entanglement, but before he could take a step forward, another 7 or 8 men surrounded him. These guys' eyes were all shining with a murderous light. Quick, touch the great God and get some glory. Touch the stairway to heaven and you'll get 500 points. Great God, can you sell me today's battle robe? I'll pay 5,000. Great God, I'll pay 10,000 for your underwear. Great God, I'll change your gender for you. Chen Guang was scared out of his wits by this group of bastards. He kept retreating. These men were simply like scourges and fierce beasts. There were only 100 or so fanatical fans in total. The foreheads of these men in the internet cafe were all in the double digits. This place alone took up close to 10 people. The effect of watching live was indeed outstanding. If he were to stay here today, he wouldn't be able to keep his chastity in his old age. Just as he took 2 steps back, someone hugged him from behind. That plump and bouncy feeling was quite intense. Chen Guang turned his head. That's more like it. This was a rather hot girl with a pretty face. Her face was also unusually flushed, and the number of faith points that appeared on her forehead was as high as 18 points a day. Very good, very strong, very fanatical. She hugged Chen Guang with all her might. Everyone, get out of my way. Please inject your great God essence into my body. Chen Guang was overjoyed. That's right, it's you. Just as he was about to hug this girl and run off to do something, someone shouted, "Save it. He's Jean Shiyue's boyfriend. Why would he like you?" A basin of cold water was poured over Chen Guang's head. That seemed to be the case. Although his relationship with Jean Shiyue was fake, the people didn't think so. He was using the title of Jean Shiyue's boyfriend outside. He really had to be careful of his image. He couldn't be a fanatical fan demon. He felt sorry for himself for 30 seconds before saying, "Female classmate, thank you for your attention, but I already have a girlfriend." His expression instantly became incomparably serious. He spoke righteously, and a glow of righteousness shone from his body. I'm a man with a bottom line." His heart was bleeding as he said that. Chapter 456. Happily returning home, Chen Guang felt a sense of accomplishment as he felt his faith points increasing rapidly. Coupled with the delicious supper that Zhui Jingxi prepared for him, it was needless to say how good his days were. You're not allowed to play games tomorrow. Come to my lab and do some proper work. Although you're not short of money, you can't keep playing, right? Zhui Jingxi did not know that Chen Guang's gaming was also proper work, so she habitually put on the airs of a teacher. Chen Guang shoved a mouthful of rice into his mouth, then stretched out his perverted hands to take advantage of Zhui Jingxi. "I know. I've been playing too crazily recently, and I'm sick of it. I'll be at the lab tomorrow, so I won't have the courage to play games again in the near future." He was not talking nonsense. After a few days of continuous battles, his nausea that had almost recovered was acting up again today. He reckoned that if he lost 2 more matches, he might not be able to last until the end of the day. As the two were chatting, Chen Guang received a text message on his phone. He was overjoyed when he saw it. It was from Bamboo Culture, Little Tsong's live streaming platform. This was not his salary, but the gifts that Chen Guang had received in the past few days. He did not particularly care about this matter. After all, he was aiming for the end of the world, and he had to carry 4 legs at the same time. From time to time, he would still encounter people watching his live stream. It was quite tiring to play, so he did not have a mood to interact with the bullet screen. In the end, he still could not stop the passionate audience from giving him gifts. In 6 days, he had received a total of nearly 500,000 yuan in gifts. Nearly 100,000 yuan a day. He had to thank Little Tsong for giving him so much. Other live streamers had a 40-60 or 50-50 split with their platform, but Chen Guang was the only one who got a full share. All the gifts from the audience belonged to him, and Bamboo Culture Live did not ask for a single cent. The reason was simple. Chen Guang was so generous that he did not even need to sign a 5-year contract with Little Kong. This bit of gift money was just a small matter. He could just treat it as selling a favor to deepen their relationship. Well, this was nothing compared to his net worth of nearly 200 million, but it was still hard-earned money after all, and he felt a great sense of accomplishment. Look, I'm not slacking off. I've earned 500,000 yuan playing games these few days. Chen Guang happily showed Zhui Jingxi the text on his phone. He was getting more and more obnoxious. Nonsense. Although he couldn't really do anything now, it wouldn't be too much to satisfy his cravings. Zhui Jingxi blushed and slapped his perverted hand away. Don't touch me. The doctor said it'll take a month. He couldn't act recklessly. You're already a millionaire, yet you're still so happy with just 500,000 yuan. Aren't you ashamed? As she spoke, Zhui Jingxi got up and ran toward the door. She had no choice but to run. She was really afraid that Chen Guang would ignite their fire. Remember, I'll call you tomorrow morning. Before leaving, she turned around and reminded him. The next day, when Chen Guang arrived at the laboratory early in the morning, he teased Zhong Yu and Hua Ling. Yo, the Empress's son-in-law is finally willing to grace us with his presence. It's really an honor for us. Zhong Yu covered her mouth and laughed. Hua Ling, on the other hand, was helping Chen Guang. All right, Zhong Yu, don't scold him anymore. Didn't you see how sneaky he was when he went upstairs with his sunglasses on? He was afraid of being recognized. It's not easy to be the son-in-law. There's nothing going on between him and Goddess Jean. Zhong Yu first looked at Zhui Jingxi, who was busy with her work, and then looked at Chen Guang meaningfully. For what I see, it's hard to say if Goddess Jean really has feelings for him, but do you dare to say that you're not tempted by our online celebrity Chen? She's helping you put on such an act. I don't believe that she's not interested in you at all. Actually, I don't really believe it either, Hua Ling added. As they were chatting, Luo Jin came in with a stack of books. When he saw Chen Guang, his brows furrowed. Chen Guang didn't have a good impression of this guy and couldn't be bothered with him. He continued to joke with Zhong Yu as he mixed the medicine. Aren't you going to spend some alone time with your superstar? What are you doing here in a small fry's laboratory? Luo Jin came up and said sarcastically. Chen Guang instantly became unhappy. The reason why senior sister Zhong Yu and senior sister Hua Ling can joke with me is because they're related to me. I know that they're just joking with me. You're saying such a cold thing the moment you come up. Aren't you just talking too much to me? Chen Guang turned to look at him. Do I know you well? Luo Jin's face stiffened. He didn't seem very happy, but then he remembered that Su Lijun and his son had fallen into his hand a few days ago. Now, Chen Guang could be considered a villain among villains in the school. Luo Jin was angry, but he didn't dare to show it. Hey, Chen Guang, this bottle has been in the greenhouse for too long. I can't open it. Can you help me? At this time, Zhui Jingxi came over again and intimately stuffed a bottle into Chen Guang's arms. Luo Jin's heart suddenly lost control. He ridiculed. Chen Guang, you'd better stay away from Teacher Zhua. You already have a girlfriend. Hey, look at my bad temper. Chen Guang put the bottle on a lab table and turned to look at this guy who didn't know what was good for him. Are you asking for a beating? Chen Guang didn't even have time to scold him before Hua Ling flew into a rage. Senior brother Luo, aren't you going too far with your words? Is there something going on between Chen Guang and Teacher Zhua? Isn't there something going on between them? Hearing Hua Ling say this, Chen Guang and Zhui Jingxi both blushed a little. They really couldn't be called innocent. Zhong Yu also said that's right. From what senior brother Luo said, it seems like you think that Chen Guang and Teacher Zhua have some improper relationship. What era is this? Helping to open a bottle is not clear between a man and a woman? Improper relationship. Chen Guang and Zhui Jingxi rolled their eyes. Whose side are you two on? Why do I feel like you're scolding me indirectly? On the other side, Luo Jin had become the target of public criticism. There was no need to mention how wronged he was. Hua Ling waved her hand. She didn't want to deal with Luo Jin anymore. She casually said, All right, senior brother Luo, we're here to do experiments, not to do those weird things. Just focus on doing experiments and writing papers. That's the right thing to do. Whether Chen Guang is a good person or a bad person, how can we not know? Zhong Yu snorted. That's right. That day when Wang Ren bullied Hua Ling, Chen Guang stood up for us. What about you, senior brother Luo? You didn't even dare to fart and came back with your tail between your legs. It's a little unfair for you to be implicated later. But Chen Guang helped settle the matter. Not only did you not say thank you, but you're also acting weird here? You can't be like this. Chen Guang didn't say anything more. He looked down at the phone in Luo Jin's hand. It was a Sony S7. If he remembered correctly, he had seen the review of this model when he was choosing a new phone. The rear camera looked like it had a high resolution, but it was actually flawed. It was very white and easily overexposed. In the post that sold his real identity, Almighty Superman equals Chen Guang equals Jin Shiyue's boyfriend. Wasn't there a photo of him walking in school? If he remembered correctly, that photo was indeed a little overexposed and white. Coupled with the fact that this grandson was in a hurry to point out in front of everyone that he was Zhui Jingxi's boyfriend, it was as if he was afraid that others wouldn't know. Chen Guang said, I seriously suspect that you're the one who set me up. Whether it was this guy or not, he just had to snatch his phone and see if there was an original photo in it. There was no need for Chen Guang to be polite with this person, so Chen Guang immediately snatched Chen Guang's phone. What are you doing? Luo Jin wanted to snatch it back. Chen Guang pressed his left hand against his neck, preventing him from moving. Nothing. Get it back. Give me back my phone. Luo Jin roared. His hands struggled desperately, but it was useless. Their strength was not on the same level at all. Zhui Jingxi frowned slightly. She felt that Chen Guang was quite abnormal today. Usually, he wouldn't be so overbearing. What's wrong? All right, stop fooling around. She walked over and was about to persuade him, but she looked up and saw Chen Guang holding Luo Jin's phone in his hand. Most of the photos were taken from different angles. There are photos of her when she was reading a book, photos of her concentrating on an experiment, photos of her on her way home, and even photos of her sleeping on her desk in a laboratory. Chen Guang's fingers shook roughly. There were at least 100 photos. Zhui Jingxi, Zhongyu, and Hualing all shouted in their hearts at the same time. Photo-taking maniac. Pervert. Chen Guang was even more furious. Damn, how dare you take photos of my woman? Oh right, this one. Wasn't this the original photo in the post that exposed the news? I feel that you're the one who set me up. Let's see what you're going to say now. Chen Guang clicked on the original photo that he had taken and glared at Luo Jin fiercely. Zhui Jingxi and the other two had also seen the post. How could they not understand when they saw the original high-definition photo? Senior Luo, how could you do this? You're invading other people's privacy. Hua Ling slammed the table. Zhongyu also looked at Luo Jin with extreme disgust. Have you ever thought about how much trouble this kind of post will cause to the people involved? How could you take photos of other people? Did you get permission from other people before you posted their photos? I used to think that you were a good senior, but now it seems that I was blind. Zhui Jingxi was also angry. Luo Jin, you're such a disappointment. Being exposed on the spot, Luo Jin's face turned green and white. The evidence was conclusive, and he could not deny it, so he simply did not hide it anymore. Yes, I did it. So what? You think you're in the right? Zhui Jingxi was so angry that she laughed. Luo Jin snorted. Of course. I'm going to expose Chen Guang, the two-timing Chen Shimmy. Teacher Zhua, he's cheating on your feelings. What's going on in your head all day long? You're a pervert who hides and secretly takes photos of other people. How dare you talk about Chen Guang? Hualing's fiery temper flared up. Chapter 457. At this moment, an old voice came from the entrance of a laboratory. What's with the ruckus in a laboratory? Let go of me. The few of them hurriedly looked towards the door and saw old Madame Shu panting with rage. Luo Jin immediately wanted to complain. Teacher Shu, Chen Guang, shut up. I've been standing here listening for a few minutes. I know everything. Luo Jin, what did you tell me when you took my postgraduate exam? What are you doing now? Old Madame Shu looked at Luo Jin with a pained expression. You're not suited to working in this laboratory in your current state. Next semester, no, from tomorrow onwards, you don't have to come to this laboratory anymore. No. Luo Jin panicked when he saw that he was about to be chased out of the laboratory. I haven't finished my thesis. Old Madame Shu waved her hand impatiently. Do you think I'm joking with you? Your thesis will be written in Professor Chen's group next semester. That laboratory is full of guys, so you better not disappoint me again. Otherwise, you can forget about being my postgraduate student. I can't take you on. Luo Jin's face stiffened as he looked unwillingly at Zhuo Jingxi and then at the determined old Madame Shu before leaving with his head hung low. The matter was exposed by Cheng Guang. If it was in the past, he might have dared to say some harsh words to Cheng Guang. But now he didn't dare. He regretted that he wouldn't have teased Cheng Guang if he knew this would happen. He simply couldn't understand how Cheng Guang had guessed his intentions. That thesis had been written with such care and effort, there couldn't be any flaws. Why was it like this? After Luo Jin was chased away, the laboratory quieted down. Old Madame Shu restrained her anger, and her expression brightened. She smiled at Cheng Guang. You did well. Sigh. Su Lijing's death is a bit of a pity. He brought it upon himself. Hua Ling said. Old Lady Shu nodded. Indeed, a pitiful person must have a hateful side. He connived with Wang Ren's evil deeds, so he deserves this calamity. If he is allowed to escape this calamity, who knows, more people will suffer in the future. I heard that Deputy Dean Deng has been transferred to the Administrative and Logistics Department. Dean Tong has also been dismissed. Zhong Yu asked. Old Madame Shu nodded with a smile. Xiao Deng deserves it. Wang Ren has been messing around with the things that he did in the Jinhuan College all these years. He didn't have any academic achievements to begin with, so he was sent to the Logistics Department to be the deputy chief. He didn't even have a proper position. As for Little Yang, he's not a good person. It's better not to let him manage the administration. Little Han has been promoted. He has done a great service this time. Evil had its retribution. Everyone was overjoyed. Vice Principal Han's reputation in the academy had always been good, and she was indeed a responsible and good leader. She had been suppressed by Tong and Deng for the past few years, but in any case, she had been a daughter-in-law for many years. All right, Xiaozhu, didn't I talk to the University of California Laboratory about you last time? My old classmate replied and said that you can go anytime. Zhuo Jingxi was slightly moved, but she glanced at Cheng Guang, who was looking at her eagerly. I'm not going. Isn't everything fine now? Unexpectedly, old Madame Shu said, Originally, I only wanted you to be an assistant. It doesn't really matter if you go or not, but they are very satisfied with your resume. Coincidentally, one of their team leaders resigned recently. They hope that you can go over and take over that team leader's position. You can still lead the team there. Going over to be an assistant and leading a research team was completely different. Although there was only a small difference in status between the two, the academic level that they could come into contact with was like heaven and earth. Whether it was to gain experience or to learn real things, being the team leader of a large laboratory was the best training opportunity. It was undeniable that Zhuo Jingxi was moved. Teacher Shu. Zhuo Jingxi hesitated. Old Madame Shu was anxious. What are you hesitating for? It's such a good opportunity. If you miss it, you won't encounter such a good opportunity again. Their laboratory is more advanced than ours. Even if you go there to observe and learn for 2 years, you will be able to come into contact with more advanced international theories. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Cheng Guang felt like he was about to explode. Hey, what the hell is this? After toppling Su Lijing, he did not even think about Zhuo Jingxi going abroad because he felt that there was no need for it. But how did this turn of events happen again? I know that you were reluctant to part with Hua Ling and Zhong Yu. How about this? I will make the decision in the second half of the semester and arrange for the two of them to go to Little Yang's laboratory. Old Madame Shu said again. The Little Yang she was talking about was the other team leader in the photocatalyst laboratory. He was not a PhD student like Zhuo Jingxi, but a solid postdoctoral student. He was already a little famous in the field of knowledge and had done more research than Zhuo Jingxi. If they could change to that laboratory, it would be equivalent to a promotion for Hua Ling and Zhong Yu. Zhuo Jingxi felt extremely embarrassed. How could I say it? Actually, what I really care about is my man, Cheng Guang. But being a scholar was her lifelong dream. Originally, she thought that the cruel test of career and love would not come so soon. After all, Cheng Guang was also a student of Gokyo University. But suddenly, this matter was thrown in front of her, leaving her defenseless. Finally, she gritted her teeth. Teacher Shu, Teachers, you go. This is really a good opportunity, Chen Guang suddenly said. He finally understood. Just as old Madame Xu said, going to Big Yang meant that Zhuo Jingxi was a step closer to her dream. Although he felt that it was super cheating, he could not be so selfish. Of course, he remembered Zhuo Jingxi's eyes full of longing and desire when she talked about the great prospects of photocatalysis. The Zhuo Jingxi who was a scholar and the Zhuo Jingxi in her daily life were not the same person at all. She was so fanatical, so persistent. But even so, she wanted to give up this opportunity for him. It was impossible for Chen Guang to say that he was not touched. But as a man, he could not be a stumbling block for her. After feeling sorry for himself for 10 seconds, Chen Guang said with a smile, "It's just 2 years. When Teacher Zhuo comes back, our school is still counting on you to take over Teacher Xu's class. It's quite convenient to take a plane now. When you have time, fly back a few times to visit us. It's not bad." Old Madame Xu also said with a smile, "That's right. When the time comes, I will really have to retire. Although you entered the school not early among the group leaders, you are indeed very talented. In fact, Little Qin and Little Yang are very tempted, but Big Yang is more optimistic about you. I'm also more optimistic about you." Zhuo Jingxi looked at Chen Guang again, then okay. "Ah, that's right. Little Zhuo, I know that your family is not very well off. For this kind of private academic training, the laboratory will give you a certain amount of compensation, but it shouldn't be too high. How about this? I still have some savings here." Old Madame Xu had clearly considered this matter very maturely. Zhuo Jingxi shook her head and said, "No need, Teacher Xu. I have money here." As she said this, her eyes secretly drifted to Chen Guang. The two had a tacit understanding. Chen Guang smiled happily. "Teacher Xu, you worry too much. Teacher Xu doesn't lack money. Not lacking money. Sponsor. Keep. Fill. Money should be spent where it is needed. This is my blade. All right, but don't force yourself. If you have any difficulties, feel free to tell me. I've found an acquaintance to cut the queue for the interview. Big Yang will also communicate with the embassy. Hurry up and get the visa tomorrow. Try to leave within a week." Old Madame Xu said a few more words and left. Standing to the side, Hua Ling and Zhong Yu were envious. At the same time, they felt happy for Zhuo Jingxi. But when they saw how Chen Guang and Zhuo Jingxi were exchanging glances, they felt that there was a lot of knowledge involved. After a busy day in the laboratory, Chen Guang saw that it was almost 5 in the afternoon. He said goodbye to everyone and slipped away, feeling somewhat dejected as he returned to his rented apartment. Although he had previously crossed that hurdle in his heart, he had only been embarrassed once. The doctor's order hadn't even been fulfilled in a month, and this person was about to fly across the sea. Don't look at my dignified appearance. In fact, I'm so disappointed that I want to hang myself, okay? At this time, he received a super wonderful phone call. "Brother, I won't be coming back tonight. 7th High's cram school has started, so I'll be staying at 7th High." Ever since the upheaval in the family, Fan Lingshan's growth and changes were drastic. She became extremely independent. She didn't even tell Chen Guang that she was going to 7th High's registration. Today, she went to school alone to settle the matter of repeating her 3rd year of high school. Of course, she could only listen in at 7th High's classes. When it was time for the college entrance examination, she would probably have to return to Southeast Province. This good little sister is finally not coming back. Chen Guang was moved to tears. Is this the last dinner that God wants to give me? Study well. Study seriously. Strive to get high marks. Our Gokyo University's medical department is very good. If you don't get into the top 5 clinical medicine majors, don't come back." Chen Guang said, then hung up the phone with a bang and jumped 3 feet high. Then, he instantly fell back into a state of depression. There was still a long way to go before the 1-month deadline. I can't die in peace. Lying on the bed, he didn't even have the mood to eat dinner. Ignore me, everyone. I just want to be quiet now. Don't ask me who Jing Jing is. My Jing Jing is going to America. He really fell asleep. Wake up and eat. Sleepy head. This was Zhuo Jingxi's voice, and a strong aroma came from the living room. This is your parting dinner, right? I'm not eating anymore. Go to the ends of the earth. Leave me alone in this cold room and die alone. Chen Guang waved his hand, so righteous. Zhuo Jingxi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Why didn't I see you so weak before? This isn't the Chen Guang I know, who dares to go against anyone. That's a different matter. Today my heart is like tofu. I'll break into pieces with one touch. Chen Guang howled again, then continued to pretend to sleep. Chapter 458. Oh, by the way, the 500,000 I earned yesterday has been transferred to your account. Don't rent a house in the poor areas in America. I heard that it's very chaotic there. Just rent a high-end apartment or even a villa. Anyway, earning money is like playing a game to me. Everything can be saved, but money can't be saved. Huh? What else can I save if not money? You can save your life if you don't save money. Recently, the internet has been reporting about how international students are doing overseas. I'm not by your side, so I'm feeling anxious. All right, I'll listen to you. I'll listen to you. He didn't lack money. Chen Guang was right. He estimated that by the end of the month, the traffic from his Weibo account would be no less than 1 million. If he really didn't have enough money, what a joke. Although Liuli's big business deal hasn't been finalized yet, I'm the boss of a big company with a market value of more than 100 million. Okay? Zhuo Jingxi leaned over to his bedside and kissed him hard on the cheek. All right, don't be sad. We're still young and have a long way to go. All right, I'll get up later to eat. I'm really not in the mood right now. Oh, I get it. You must think that the maintenance fee is too expensive. I only slept with you for a night, and you spent 500,000 yuan. Even a normal celebrity can't reach my net worth. Zhuo Jingxi laughed again. Speaking of which, Chen Guang's heart hurt even more when she said that. Actually, Chen Guang knew that she was joking. If she was really that kind of woman, she wouldn't have gone to find someone else to support her. Just marrying Zhou Long alone would have cost more than a few million. She had already decided that she was going to marry Chen Guang, which was why she was willing to accept his sponsorship. Perhaps she wasn't qualified to marry him, but Zhuo Jingxi had already treated him and her as a real family. How about this? You get up and eat first. Then you lie down and don't move, and I'll try myself? Actually, what the doctor said might not be entirely correct. I haven't felt anything strange since 2 days ago. Maybe it'll work if we slowed down a little. Zhuo Jingxi gently moved her mouth to Chen Guang's ear again, her hot breath blowing into his ear. Chen Guang sat up straight. All right, it's decided then. There are some things that one had to believe in. Ouch, ouch, oh my God, no way, no way. I can't take it anymore. Zhuo Jingxi was sprawled on the bed, sweating profusely. Her entire body was trembling violently, as if she had epilepsy. Her smooth, jade-like back was covered with beads of perspiration. Her perky buttocks were moving up and down, and her entire body was curled up like a poodle that had been beaten. She was also gasping for breath when she spoke, unable to catch her breath. Chen Guang turned his body and looked at her feeble appearance. Those who don't know would think that I tortured you for a long time. In fact, it didn't even take 3 seconds. Not bad. Compared to the last time, this time it was a qualitative improvement. From 0.5 seconds to 3 seconds, it was a net increase of 6 times. It would take years for the GDP to catch up to this speed. But what was the use of 3 seconds? I was lying on the bed and didn't dare to move, so I let her sit on the bed by herself. But why did the pile driver completely lose control when the two of them really came into contact? This terrifying vibration, which came with its own power and didn't need to be recharged, almost shook the bed. Stop talking. Let me take a breather. Oh my God, I'm cramping. My stomach is cramping. Zhuo Jingxi really didn't have any strength left. Chen Guang slapped her buttocks. Why are you so weak? Zhuo Jingxi panted heavily for a few minutes. Can you blame me for this? Where's your little electric motor? No, it's like a high-pressure submachine gun. I'm not coming anymore. Anyway, I'm not coming anymore. Oh my God, it's so torturous. She looked down and saw that he was still glaring at her angrily, as if he wanted to eat her up. Zhuo Jingxi shrank to the side of the bed. Don't come anymore, really don't come anymore, or else I'll have to be hospitalized again. Ouch! She fell off the bed in shock with a thud. Chen Guang was dumbfounded. They were having a good time together. So how did they end up like this? Why is my life so bitter? He couldn't help but ask the heavens and the earth. Why don't you try tying a rope around my waist of the bed? After pulling the naked teacher Zhuo onto the bed, Chen Guang didn't give up and asked again. Zhuo Jingxi shook her head like a rattle drum and quickly pulled the quilt over to cover her body. Don't joke around. This is too much. I might really have to wait for a month. My stomach feels like it's been stirred by a sh*T stick. Oh no, it's like it's been stirred by something. It's sour. Then what do you think I should do in this situation? Chen Guang straightened his back. What should I do? I'm lying on the bed now. You can poke a hole in the bed. So you were the one who poked the hole last time? Zhuo Jingxi was shocked. I thought there was a mouse in the house. Chen Guang's face was bitter. Although I don't really want to admit it, I was the one who poked the hole. Zhuo Jingxi took a few deep breaths and wanted to slip away from the bed again. After a long while, she felt embarrassed by Chen Guang's green eyes. She put on a long face and said, "You really can't blame me for this, right? You're really too amazing. Give me some more time. I think I'll have to practice more. I can't take it. I really can't." Chen Guang sighed and lay on his back next to her. The cold wind blew in from outside and blew on a certain damp thing that was standing upright. It was cool, but his heart was burning. How about I use my hands? 2 hours later, Zhuo Jingxi started acting shamelessly. I don't care. You think of a way yourself. Don't torture me. I still have an interview tomorrow morning. I'm going to sleep first. I'm no longer a bachelor. I have a woman. How blissful is this? But the strongest spear and the strongest shield are all me. My woman is just a cover. Nice to look at, but useless. No, it should be because I'm too strong. I regret it so much. I used to watch Japanese movies that envied the power of others for half an hour. Only now do I realize that I'm too strong in this aspect. It's not a blessing at all. I raised my hands and silently looked at the strongest pair of arms in history, as well as the strongest pile driver in history below my waist. After all this time, I'm still a magician who has to rely on his own strength. Please allow me to make a sad expression. No one can understand the sorrow in my heart. For days later, Zhuo Jingxi flew away. Chen Guang was lying at home alone. As the owner of the heavenly Holy Grail and an internet celebrity, he actually got bored. So empty, so lonely, so down and out. On this summer vacation, when the young and the yellow were not coming in, he actually lost his life goal. What should I do? Play games? I was on the verge of vomiting blood a few days ago. I'd better save it. Liuli's company still hadn't made any moves. It wasn't strange. After all, how could the handover of a company worth more than 100 million be settled so quickly? Or maybe I should record a dart-throwing video and post it online to gain more popularity. This seemed to be a good idea. However, I've already posted 2 dart-throwing videos before, and the statue of God hasn't made any moves yet. This meant that the power of promoting it on Weibo alone was probably not enough to gain enough recognition. So it's better not to do this. What? Someone said that it's a statue of God with Qilin arms and a pile driver? What's that? Did I learn it before? I don't remember at all. I suffer from a type of selective amnesia. I can't remember what those 2 annoying things are at all. I took out my phone out of boredom. According to international practice, I first checked WeChat. Last time, I felt that Jiang Yage was shifty-eyed during the video call. I clicked on it and saw that she had indeed sent dozens of messages. You tricked me. That's right. Jiang Yage posted photos again. The scale was slightly larger than the last time. A few of them seemed to have been taken when she woke up in the morning. Behind the floor-to-ceiling window was a round red sun. Jiang Yage was standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, wearing only a pair of light white shorts. Her upper body was bare. The camera seemed to have been set up somewhere for a time-lapse. It captured every detail of her dainty body. However, she still used the nebula on her face. But Chen Guang could tell at a glance that it was her. Then she took the camera in her hand and took 2 pictures from the neck down. In the photo, there was a beautiful M line and more. Buddha said, I can't say it. That figure, that skin, it was simply too explosive. Chen Guang scolded Jiang Yage for tricking him as he flipped through the photos happily. People's hearts aren't what they used to be, and public morals are getting worse day by day. Young people nowadays are really too indiscreet. After looking through them, he replied, "Okay, okay. Please keep up the good work." Unexpectedly, Jiang Yage replied immediately, "Okay, okay. Damn, she's really there? I'm just joking." Chen Guang quickly wanted to type another message, but it was too late. Jiang Yage had already sent another photo. She seemed to be lying on the bed with one hand fiddling with her pants. She pulled her pants down a little, and then the camera took a photo from above. At the bottom of her flat abdomen, a small tuft of black hair could be vaguely seen. Chen Guang hurriedly said, "That's enough. That's enough. That's enough." Jiang Yage replied with a voice message. "There's no more. Sister Shuriwei is coming over. We have to go to a promotional event. Oh right, tomorrow is the premiere of Tears for Rivers and Mountains. It should be showing at the same time in the 5 capitals. Remember to watch it." With that, Jiang Yage went silent. Tears for Rivers and Mountains? Chen Guang thought for a while and recalled. Wasn't this the movie in which he had a small role? After waiting for a long time, it was finally going to be released. As one of the main cast members, how could he not watch the premiere? That's right, he shamelessly regarded himself as the main cast member. Of course I'm important. Without me, the 2 female leads would have died, and this movie would be gone, okay? Who could be more important than me? He opened the class's QQ group to take a look. The group's current topics were focused on 2 points. One was the movie's release, and the other was, of course, the legend of the generation's popular online master. Chapter 459. Inexplicably, Chen Guang, who everyone saw every day, had become the boyfriend of the national idol. This was like an earthquake to the entire class. Fortunately, the 3 guys in the dorm explained that things weren't what they seemed to be. The 2 were only boyfriend and girlfriend in name, and there was nothing going on between them. That was why the class didn't make a fuss. Instead, they were secretly happy that they had found out a big secret. These people looked at the noisy and boisterous outside and the shocked appearance of the whole country. They even felt a sense of pleasure, as if they were the only sober person in the world. But recently, Chen Guang had made a big fuss on the internet, and he had been interacting with Jean Shuriwei a little too much. This gave everyone an idea. What was fake could be real, and what was real could be fake. Could these 2 really have that kind of relationship? Do you guys think Goddess Jean really fell in love with our brother Guang just because he turned into underwear Superman and saved her? A guy in the class said from the bottom of his heart. Gaia nodded. Of course. Then, this guy who wanted to see the world in chaos even tagged Sun Xiaoxuan. However, Sun Xiaoxuan was jet-lagged, and it was early in the morning. All of a sudden, Chen Guang spoke up. "Would you guys believe me if I said that it's fake? Just look at you. I believe you even if you were a small-time celebrity. To be honest, brother Guang. Haha. I've learned a new phrase recently. It's called the difference between clouds and mud." Spitting on the ground, Chen Guang responded, "Then what are you guys chewing on?" Lin Jingwei popped up. Gaoya. I'll wait for you at Wang Fujing tomorrow at 2 p.m. It's the premiere of Jiang Shan, and it's in the middle of the 4th row. Gaoya laughed. Wow, good job, Lin. I also got a ticket for the premiere. It's crazy here in Shanghai. Luckily, I booked the tickets half a month in advance. Another guy popped up. Guys, give me your blessings. I've got a date with the prettiest girl in my high school. It's either succeed or die trying. Seeing that the class was so lively, Chen Guang said faintly, I support domestic movies, I support Tears for Rivers and Mountains, and I support the rising actor Chen Guang. That's right, I'm the handsome and domineering deputy general who will appear in the film for about an hour. I'm your most handsome brother Guang. F***CK. Damn you. We agreed to go to the set together, but you secretly became a deputy general. Xiaonger, who had been lurking, popped his head up. Bai Nyangzi added, beast, scum, bastard. Gaoya, at Shaosun, don't ever go back to China. This guy is too unreliable. Lin Jingwei, my dear wife is right. Chen Guang said, you're such a shameless couple. Perhaps because Gaoya kept tagging Sun Xiaoxuan, she finally popped up. Don't say that. Chun Guang is only going to be a cameo. How can a cameo lead a tour? You guys are too much. Only the opposite sex. Gaia complained again. Actually, she and Lin Jingwei were in no position to say that. I'm not going to talk to you guys anymore. I'm sleepy. I'm going back to sleep, Sun Xiaoxuan replied and went silent. Chun Guang quietly closed QQ, a touch of sadness in his heart. Tears for Rivers and Mountains had been building momentum for a while. It was known as this year's big production of a domestic martial arts film, and the cast was luxurious enough. Whether it was the director, Big Beer Deng, the male and female leads, or even the Hollywood post-production team, they were all well known in the industry. Ordinary people had no hope of getting tickets to the premiere one day in advance. But this wasn't a problem for Chun Guang, because Xiaocheng's family was the boss of Qinda Pictures. Not to mention the premiere, even if he wanted a dozen VIP tickets, as long as there was still some left, he would be able to watch it. The tickets weren't a problem, but the problem was the person accompanying him to watch the movie. Teacher Zhua and Sun Xiaoxuan were abroad. His sister Fan Lingshan was living in school. Wu Tong was in Yanjing. Woman was nowhere to be found. Lu Fei was in Danghai for a meeting, and Jin Shuriwei and Jiang Yage could forget about it. Why am I so unlucky? I want to find someone to watch a movie with me, but I don't even have a suitable companion. I really want you to watch a movie and then suddenly see my handsome face on the big screen, then look at me with a pale face. Wow, it's you, Chun Guang. Think about that scene. How pleasantly surprised, how much I look forward to it. But I don't have a suitable companion. I can't possibly go to a dangerous place like the movie theater alone. I don't want to be killed by those scumbags in the movie theater. Sai, what should I do? This feeling was like casting pearls before swine. I want to act cool, but it's like I'm a playboy who has mistakenly entered a monk's temple, with nowhere to start and nowhere to act cool. At this moment, his phone suddenly rang. He picked it up and saw that it was Tang Ying. Why is she calling me? Accompany me to watch a movie tomorrow. Do you have time? Tang Ying's first sentence made Chun Guang overjoyed. Do we have a telepathic connection? I'm having a hard time because I don't have anyone to accompany me, and you actually took the initiative to call me. Of course. Do you need me to get the tickets? Chun Guang asked. Unexpectedly, Tang Ying thought for a moment and said, No need. I've already bought the tickets. Wait at the entrance of the hospital at 12:30. Have lunch first, then go to the movie theater. After hanging up, Chun Guang began to wonder how busy a doctor was. Needless to say, Tang Ying was obviously not the kind of person who had nothing better to do. So, although Chun Guang had thought of many people, Tang Ying was the only one he hadn't considered. Is there a deeper meaning to her asking me to watch a movie? Forget it. I won't think about it if I can't figure it out. On the other end, Tang Ying was on the phone with Wu Tong. All right. I don't know what you're worried about. Is there really something going on between Jin Shuriwei and him? I'm just feeling uneasy. He already explained it to you. Yet you're still uneasy? Aren't you thinking too highly of him? What's this called? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Just because you think he's good, you think others will fall in love with him. Isn't that nonsense? All right, my good sister. Anyway, you just have to test him a little. Don't let him find out that I asked you to look for him. Wu Tong hurriedly said a few words. All right, I only have a minute to talk to him. I'll be leaving first. I'll leave it to you. Tang Ying looked at her phone, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. She muttered to herself, I don't even know what you're worried about. She looked down at her watch, got up, and walked to the door of the office, only to see a man in a white suit standing at the door with his brows slightly furrowed. The man did not seem to notice the displeasure in her expression at all. He handed her a bouquet of flowers. I just saw a little girl selling flowers at the entrance of the hospital. She seemed to be working hard. She just bought a bouquet of lilies. I think this flower language suits you quite well. Shall I put it on your desk? As he said that, he walked straight in, looking like he was very familiar with Tang Ying. Tang Ying stopped him with her hand. Mr. Song, I've told you many times. This is my workplace. If you have anything to say, please talk to me when I'm off work. Don't disturb my work. Mr. Song looked a little awkward. Isn't it just a coincidence? Don't do it again. Don't do it again. I don't want the flowers. Mr. Song, since you're here, Please make it short. A busy person like you wouldn't come to me for no reason. Tang Ying put on a straight face and put her hands in the pockets of her white coat. This Song Ming Yuan had come to see her more than once in the past few days. Tang Ying was really annoyed, and her attitude was not very good. Song Ming Yuan did not mind. He just put the flowers behind his back and took out 2 movie tickets from his pocket. Miss Tang, do you have time to go to the movies with me? It's the premiere of Tears Will Run for Rivers tomorrow afternoon. It's not easy to get these tickets. Tang Ying turned to leave. Sorry, we doctors are too busy. I really don't have the heart to go to the movies. After saying that, she rushed into the inpatient ward. Obviously, she did not want to waste any more time with Song Ming Yuan. The 2 nurses in the doctor's office who had listened to Tang Ying's phone calls from beginning to end couldn't help but cover their mouths and laugh when they saw this scene. Song Ming Yuan's whole body froze. He really did not know whether to leave or stay. He glared at the 2 nurses fiercely. What are you laughing at? Is this funny? Song Ming Yuan stuffed the whole bouquet of lilies into the trash can and walked away with a livid face. He was also puzzled. What on earth was Tang Ying thinking? They were considered to be well-matched in terms of social status. She was not young anymore. She couldn't possibly stay single until she was 30. Why did she have to be so cold and distant? What the hell? Why did I fall for such a difficult woman? After Song Ming Yuan walked far away, the nurse who had shouted at him rolled her eyes and said disdainfully, with that bad temper of his, how could he pursue Dr. Tang? I won't be able to do it, even if you beat me to death. That's right. Isn't he just rich? He dresses like a dog, but he doesn't even know how to speak. He says one thing in front of people and another thing behind their backs. Let's go back and tell Dr. Tang about how he behaved just now. The next morning, Chun Guang did not give up. He uploaded a darts video to Weibo and drove to the city at around 11 o'clock. He whistled and listened to music. The past few days had been tiring enough. It was rare for him to have a chance to relax and live a simple life. It was not bad. Chun Guang began to look forward to it in his heart. Ah, isn't that you? Yes, that's right. What do you think of my acting skills? Don't I look like an Oscar winner? Amazing, amazing. You've really hidden your skills well. Chun Guang fantasized about it in his mind. Tang Ying slammed her chopsticks down. You've been sitting there laughing like an idiot for almost 5 minutes. The waiter is about to call 120. Come back to your senses. The food is going to get cold if you don't eat now. Chun Guang hurriedly ate his rice. He thought to himself, don't get too full of yourself. You'll be shocked later. I say, why are you wearing sunglasses all day? Pretending to be blind so that you can set the table whenever you want? Tang Ying complained again. Chun Guang mumbled, you don't understand. I'm a celebrity now. I don't dare to let people recognize me. Save it. I'm willing to bet 10 yuan that if you take off your sunglasses and shout, I'm Chun Guang, no one will recognize you. Do you really think that everyone in the country has nothing better to do than to browse Weibo all day? Even if you're a superstar, you might not be recognized in the countryside. Chun Guang threw his chopsticks aside. Can't you at least let me have a taste of being a celebrity? All right. Let's eat. Hurry up and eat. The 2 arrived at the cinema on time. Tang Ying looked at Song Ming Yuan, who was dressed in a white suit, and cursed in her heart. Am I committing a sin or what? Why am I so unlucky? There are dozens of cinemas in the 5 capitals. How did I and Song Ming Yuan get to attend the same premiere? I'll be damned if I believe you. Chapter 460. Song Ming Yuan first looked at Tang Ying, who looked a little embarrassed, and then looked at Chun Guang, who was standing next to her with sunglasses on. His brows knitted into a dead knot. Although he couldn't see Chun Guang's face through the sunglasses, Song Ming Yuan kept his guard up against this 8-meter-tall young man. He was most likely a rival in love. Taking a few deep breaths to calm himself down, Song Ming Yuan forced a smile on his face. Miss Tang, didn't you say you didn't have time to watch a movie? Tang Ying also felt a headache coming on. She thought to herself, why is this person so insensible? I was giving you a way out, but you still took advantage of me? How could I have known that I would bump into you again? Do you really want me to fall out with you? Tang Ying took a step back and pulled on Chun Guang's sleeve. She forced a smile and said, I didn't plan to come before, but I changed my mind. As she spoke, she secretly pinched Chen Guang's arm. Chen Guang was in pain from Tang Ying's pinch. Looking at her winking at him, and then looking at Song Ning Yuan's angry but calm attitude, he understood. All right, my sideline has arrived again. I'm a professional fly swatter, and I'm very accurate. Should I open a shield agency in the future and take on the business of swatting flies from all kinds of beauties? Don't let the fee be too low. Every time I swatted a fly, I'll definitely make enemies. With such a big loss, I should at least charge 170,000 to 180,000, right? Although he was complaining in his heart, he didn't slow down at all. He took a step forward, put his arm around Tang Ying's shoulder, and stood between Tang Ying and Song Ning Yuan. The corners of his mouth curled up, and he said somewhat mischievously, "Mister, some words don't need to be so obvious, right? It's not that Littling doesn't have time to watch a movie, but she doesn't have time to watch it with you. She'll be free if she's with me." "Who are you?" A strange flush appeared on Song Ning Yuan's face. It was obvious that he was a little angry. "There are over 1 billion people in China, and there are plenty of people that you don't know. I don't have the mood to know you, so you don't have to bother about who I am." Chen Guang grinned as he hugged Tang Ying from the back. Song Ning Yuan reached out to grab Chen Guang's shoulder. However, it was as if Chen Guang had eyes in the back of his head. He raised his hand and slapped him on the arm, causing him to shrink back in pain. By the time Song came back to his senses, Chen Guang and Tang Ying had already disappeared into the crowd. Song Ning Yuan was so angry that he stomped his feet. At this moment, a fashionably dressed and beautiful woman jogged over from afar. "Brother Ning Yuan, I'm sorry. It took me a little longer to dress up. I'm sorry for making you wait. Get lost." Song Ning Yuan's heart was filled with anger, but he couldn't find a target to vent it on. This woman could be considered to have bumped into the muzzle of his gun. The woman's face was full of grievance and confusion. Song Ning Yuan pointed into the distance. "I told you to get lost. Didn't you hear me?" He already hated this woman. If he hadn't waited for her outside for a while, he wouldn't have bumped into Tang Ying and that man. The woman ran away with her tail between her legs. She couldn't afford to offend Song Ning Yuan, so she could only admit that she was unlucky. Song Ning Yuan gritted his teeth. "You bastard with sunglasses, don't let me find out who you are." He wanted to turn around and leave, but he was unwilling to do so. He rolled his eyes and walked back into the cinema. Inside, Chen Guang and Tang Ying had already found their VIP seats. "Say, big sister Tang Ying, you didn't call me here to be your shield, right?" Chen Guang said in a half-joking, half-serious tone. Tang Ying rolled her eyes at him. "What kind of sin have I committed? I'm obviously helping Wu Tong interrogate you, but you're the one who's blocking the flies for me. Pfft. Even if I'm looking for a shield, I should at least look for a mature and successful person, okay?" Chen Guang didn't agree. "You're taking advantage of me, but you're pretending to be innocent. If you really don't like me, why don't you expose me just now?" Tang Ying stuffed a box of popcorn into his hands. "Take it as my thanks, okay? The movie is about to start. Why don't you take off your sunglasses?" No. The lights are still on. I'll take them off when the movie starts." Chen Guang shook his head quickly. Tang Ying glared at him, grabbed a handful of popcorn from his lap, and stuffed it into her mouth. "Aren't you tired? You and Jean Shirua aren't really in that kind of relationship. Why don't you just go and deny it? You didn't take advantage of her, but you got yourself into trouble. Isn't that a loss?" Chen Guang sighed. "I'm a little tired, but I can't help it. Didn't I tell you before? When others saw me in trouble, they helped me out. You can't just tear me down now that I'm fine, right? Think about it. She's a big shot. She can just shout to the public that she's in love. Then the whole country was shocked. 'Oh my God, you're still so young. Goddess, don't abandon us.' Then the goddess said, 'No. This is my true love. Please give me your blessings.' Then the countless fans of others finally accepted this cruel reality. When their hearts turned around, you suddenly jumped out and said, 'I've broken up with you. Please continue to give me your blessings.' Tell me, as this celebrity's fan, or even if you're just a passerby, what do you think?" Chen Guang asked. Tang Ying pondered for a moment. "I definitely think that this celebrity is an idiot." "Hey, why are you scolding me? Isn't that what you asked me?" "That's what I think in my heart. Other celebrities hide their marriage certificates even if they're already married. They have nothing better to do than to fall in love and break up as fast as they can. Are they playing house? Since it's true love, how can it be so easy to break up? Chen Guang shrugged. Isn't that enough? So, I'll just endure it for now. I reckon that I'll become a celebrity soon. Tang Ying stomped on his foot angrily. Do you really think that celebrities are freeloaders? Others spend 10 years of hard work for a minute on stage. What kind of talent do you have? And you call yourself a celebrity? You can't possibly go into the entertainment industry as a celebrity's boyfriend, can you? You have to have your own goods first, right? Are you looking down on me? Don't I know how to play the piano? Chen Guang argued. Tang Ying chuckled. To be honest, I've seen that video of yours. The music you play isn't that nice. It sounds like ghosts wailing and wolves howling. What do you know? It's called the world's 10 most difficult songs. It doesn't matter if it's nice or not. The important thing is that it's hard to play. If you don't understand, then you don't know what's good about it. I don't care. Anyway, as an ordinary listener, I only have one standard for judging music. Nice or not nice. I can't be a fan of a pianist like you. You'd better focus on your studies and stop thinking about all that nonsense. Chen Guang curled his lips. He couldn't be bothered to argue with her anymore. It's better if you look down on me now. When Brother Air's acting comes out in the film, won't you be scared to death? What a coincidence, Miss Tang. You're sitting here too? As the two of them were chatting, a white silhouette walked over from the side and sat down beside Tang Ying, smiling at her. Chen Guang and Tang Ying's jaws dropped. This guy was a little too thick-skinned. This is the VIP area on the second floor. There are at least 200 to 300 seats, but you're sitting right next to Tang Ying. Isn't it too much of a coincidence? If I remember correctly, there were 2 people who sat here for a short while before they were called away. Now it's you instead. Songning Yuan sat down. He finally understood. Although Tang Ying and this guy seemed to be close, as long as they weren't married, he still had a chance. He couldn't give up so easily. Songning Yuan, can't even compete with a pretty boy? I'm going to sit here shamelessly today. What can you do to me? Just as he was secretly proud of his courage, Tang Ying suddenly stood up and said to Chen Guang, let's switch seats. Can you not be like this? Songning Yuan watched helplessly as Chen Guang and Tang Ying switched seats. The situation was really awkward. Tang Ying was really not giving him any face at all. Hearing those words, Chen Guang nearly burst out laughing. This brother of his was truly pitiful. Say, you couldn't have bought those seats, right? Do you want to switch seats over there? Songning Yuan's face darkened. Don't hit me in the face. You're a little lacking in manners, aren't you? Young Master Song did not expect that if Chen Guang and Tang Ying were really in a relationship, he would have gone overboard by trying to poach Chen Guang in front of everyone. Tang Ying tugged at him. That's enough. Don't talk too much. Although Tang Ying was not afraid of Songning Yuan, she did not want Chen Guang to put in too much effort. She would feel bad if she made an enemy out of nothing. Chen Guang, on the other hand, curled his lips indifferently. There was no need to worry about it. After a few seconds, the lights in the hall finally dimmed. The movie was about to start. Only then did Chen Guang take off his sunglasses. Songning Yuan stole a glance at Chen Guang's side profile, trying to memorize his face. However, the lights in the theater were too dim, and he couldn't take a good look at Chen Guang's face. Tears for Rivers and Mountains was a good movie. The plot was intertwined, and the characters were vivid and deep. The scenes were beautiful, and there was no lack of fist-to-flesh fighting. Fu Hua was also very sincere, perfectly recreating the charm of the medieval dynasty. When it came to making movies, Big Beer Deng had a good foundation. In recent years, he could be considered a famous director in the country who had a good combination of business and art. Otherwise, the audience would not have been so receptive to the movie, and the premiere was so popular. Tang Ying also liked to watch movies to pass the time. When she was studying abroad alone, one of the few entertainment activities she had was watching domestic movies and TV series. She was much more familiar with domestic actors and stars than Chen Guang, who was an insider. The performances of the left and right hands were consistent and steady, and there was no lack of eye-catching parts. The two of them were young, but they debuted early. If it weren't for their good looks, which overshadowed their acting skills, the two of them would have been recognized as veteran actors long ago. Tang Ying was also in high spirits. The seats in the VIP area were not that crowded, and a little talk would not disturb others. She also made a habit of commenting on the movie in a low voice. Jin Shuriwei and Jiang Ye's acting skills are really good. Look at their micro-expressions. Hidden under the angry surface is a hint of joy. They're so good at acting. Big Beer Dang really knows how to choose the actors. Even a small supporting role is so good. Joya's acting skills are quite good. He plays the strategist well. Wise, calm, and treacherous. Chapter 461. His ears were ringing, and Chen Guang felt a little uncomfortable. Big sis, I see that you're quite a decent person. Usually, you're very knowledgeable and polite. Why are you so talkative when you're watching a movie? Can't you let me enjoy the movie? A true gentleman does not speak when watching a movie. Manners. Manners. Suddenly, Song Mingyuan, who was sitting next to Chen Guang, leaned over and said to Tang Ying through Chen Guang, I'm quite familiar with Zhouya. Look, he sent me a text a few days ago, asking me to treat him to a drink some other day. Miss Tang, if you're interested, I can. Tang Ying sat up straight and stared at the big screen. Don't make a ruckus when you're watching a movie. You're disturbing the others. Zhouya's acting skills aren't that great either. He keeps repeating the same thing over and over again. There's no breakthrough at all. Chen Guang and Song Mingyuan were dumbfounded. Your change in attitude is too drastic. Song Mingyuan felt like vomiting blood. You were having a heated discussion with someone else, and now you're denying everything with just one word. Chen Guang secretly gave Song Mingyuan a thumbs up. Bro, you did a good job. If you hadn't done that, who knows how long I'd have to endure her torture. He began to count the time in his heart, watching as the battle scene that he was about to appear in drew closer and closer. Finally, as the long horn sounded, the scene of the two armies facing off suddenly popped up on the screen. The camera zoomed in, and the image of Chen Guang's golden-armored deputy general appeared on the screen. Tang Ying didn't recognize him at first, but as the scene zoomed in, the suspicion in her heart grew. Finally, she couldn't help but let out a soft cry of surprise and turned to look at Chen Guang in surprise. Chen Guang's expression didn't change, and his heart didn't skip a beat. He only looked at the big screen as if he didn't care about what was going on outside, but his heart was already blooming with joy. Hurry up and worship me. I don't believe that you can't recognize me. Who told you that I have no talent? Did you see that? This is my acting skills. Originally, his role was only supposed to last about 30 seconds, but perhaps because his performance on the set was too perfect, Big Beer Dang, after careful consideration, felt that his performance could even improve the depth and expression of the entire film. So he simply gave his face a close-up for 3 seconds, revealing the complex emotions of the deputy general, who was angry, belligerent, arrogant, and bloodthirsty. Although Chen Guang had put on makeup in the movie, his facial features hadn't changed at all. Tang Ying finally confirmed that her eyes were not playing tricks on her. She covered her mouth and exclaimed. Chen Guang turned around, his face as calm as a mountain. He lowered his voice and asked in a magnetic voice, What? Is there a problem? Ask me why you're in the movie. Quick, ask me. Don't tell me you and this actor are long-lost twin brothers? Tang Ying frowned and asked in a skeptical tone. That's me, okay? It's really you. Nonsense. Let me tell you, those people on the set were just like you. They all thought that someone like me, who has never learned to act, wouldn't be able to act. But look at the result. Didn't I do a good job? I didn't lie to you just now, did I? I'm really going to work in the showbiz industry soon. Tang Ying's mouth was wide open. She looked at Chen Guang for a long time, but she still couldn't believe it was true. She could be considered half a movie fan, and she knew how difficult it was to get a 30-second scene in a big production like this. Not to mention that the director was Big Beer Dang, who was known for his strictness. If she wanted to get 3 seconds of close-up from him, she would have to rely on her own strength. Otherwise, a failed performance would ruin the look and feel of the entire movie. Besides that, she couldn't deny it. Even though she knew that this assistant was played by someone she knew, it didn't seem out of character at all. It could only mean that Chun Guang's acting skills were really good. Also, let me tell you, I can't say for sure how good Zhouya's acting skills are, but he's just like you, one of the people who looked down on me on the set. But in the end, he made a bet with me and gave me 80,000 yuan for free. He's a godsend, a living lay phone. Of course, who would have thought that a university student studying environmental design will be able to walk over and get into character? Song Mingyuan, who had been eavesdropping on the conversation between the two, was also baffled. He couldn't hold back his curiosity and turned to look at Chun Guang. This time, he finally found the identity of the person he was looking for. Song Mingyuan's face turned red. He was just bragging about how he knew Zhouya, but this guy was even worse. He snuck into the movie, won money from Zhouya, and left. Tang Ing liked to watch movies. This was news that Song Mingyuan had found out early on. At that moment, he couldn't help but think, could this kid really be a new celebrity? Tang Ing likes movies? The information was wrong. Wait, that person on the screen looks a little familiar. At that moment, some people in the front also noticed that there was something wrong with Chun Guang's character. Isn't that Jin Shiyue's boyfriend, Chun Guang, who caused a commotion recently? Why is he in this movie too? What's so strange about that? Didn't he save Jin Shiyue and Jiang Yage when they were filming this movie? He fell into our Five Capitals painting lake. Director Deng probably saw that his image was okay and wanted to thank him, so he pulled him in to play a small role. You don't say. His acting is pretty decent. Don't talk nonsense, you two. I'm a teacher from the Chuan Film and Television Academy's Performing Arts Department, and I teach this. Chun Guang's acting skills are really not something that can be described with just the word decent. Let me give you an example. Jin Shiyue and Jiang Yage's acting skills are really good, but if you look closely, you'll notice that their acting skills are more of a performance type. It's all because of their excellent innate qualities that they can accurately express the effect that the director wants them to achieve. But there's a downside to this. A middle-aged man beside them couldn't help but interject. When they heard that there was actually a teacher from the Performing Arts Department here, the other two people's appetites were whetted. What downside? Right now, although Jin Shiyue and Jiang Yage are famous and have acted in many blockbuster movies, people generally still treat them as idols. Just like you young people often say, they're goddesses, national idols, and so on. There's a reason for this situation. Their acting skills are almost at the peak of performance, but it's precisely because they've walked too deep on this path, or maybe because they're too young and lack of life experience, that they can't perform another kind of performance that's more of an experiential effect. They can't put themselves into the role from the inside out, and they can't act like methods when it's necessary to express the character's mood and emotions with the same or similar experience. In the end, they're still a little lacking. If they can't push their acting skills to the level of a method, they won't be able to bring out a truly heavyweight performance. It'll be very difficult for them to gain deeper recognition in the industry, and they won't be able to win more heavyweight awards on the international stage. But look at Chun Guang. Although this is the first time I've seen him on screen, even if it's only a short 3 seconds of footage, I can confirm that this young man is either a genius in acting or he's already quite accomplished. This is a very perfect method performance. This assistant really acted like a god. Director Deng is also very good. His judgment is very accurate. He didn't give him a long close-up. Otherwise, in the same shot, he would have been out of place as the assistant. This so-called out of place means that he's a supporting character. He doesn't occupy the focus of the camera, but he can still steal the show. He stunned the main character, Zhouya, in this shot. This young man is amazing. Given time, he'll definitely become a great person. Zhouya was also a little disappointing. As a veteran actor, he almost had his scene stolen by an extra in the same shot. He even had to let director Deng control the angle and duration of the extra's appearance. I'm afraid director Deng must have felt very regretful during the post-production editing. This scene should have been more intense. Perhaps because he was a little excited, the teacher's voice was a little louder. Chun Guang and the other two, who were sitting behind him, heard everything clearly. Chun Guang's face turned red. To be honest, I'm really a little embarrassed to be praised like this in front of my face. If you hadn't mentioned it, I wouldn't have known that I was so good. But to be honest, this really wasn't because I'd understood the essence of the method. At that time, I wasn't even myself anymore, all right? That's not right. Strictly speaking, I can also be considered a method. First, I got Leoli to heavily hypnotize me, giving me the illusion that I'd become a super best actor. Then I went to act. A hypnotized best actor, then put myself in the shoes of the character. Double hypnosis? Stealing dream space. I'm almost the most dedicated extra in history, right? Teacher is right. It's amazing. All right. No matter what he thought, he couldn't let go of his ability to brag. You're really thick-skinned. Tang Ying pinched Chen Guang's thigh. Chen Guang chuckled. It's not that I'm thick-skinned, but what teacher said is true. Tang Ying didn't continue to pay attention to him. While everyone was commenting, another part of the movie passed. Songning Yuan's face darkened. This time, he really knew who the man in sunglasses was. You're actually Chen Guang. Don't you already have a celebrity girlfriend? Why are you trying to steal Tang Ying from me? Aren't you afraid that someone will expose you and turn the world upside down? If it weren't for his identity, Songning Yuan would have jumped up from his chair and pointed at Chen Guang, shouting at him to expose his identity so that he wouldn't be able to do anything. Finally, the movie ended. On this side, Chen Guang and Tang Ying ignored him and walked out quickly. Songning Yuan was hot-headed and followed them again. When they were outside the cinema, he couldn't hold it in any longer. Tang Ying, wait a minute. Tang Ying turned around and didn't wait for Chen Guang to hug her. Instead, she took the initiative to hold Chen Guang's hand. Mr. Song, you're also a person of status and identity. You don't have to do this, right? There are plenty of fish in the sea. Why do you have to do this? Her emotions were a little out of control, so she held onto Chen Guang's hand with too much force. She didn't realize that Chen Guang's arm was completely sandwiched between her ample breasts. Chapter 462. Songning Yuan stared at the scene, his eyes red with jealousy. He pointed at Chen Guang and said, his name is Chen Guang, right? You know who he is, right? Do you want me to expose him in front of everyone? Don't think that you can do anything sneaky just because you're wearing sunglasses. He's just a guy who relies on a woman to get to where he is. Oh, this guy is trying to pick a fight? Chen Guang clenched his fists, his knuckles cracking, and he was about to make a move. I told you I don't like to talk nonsense. If I can make a move, I won't. No matter how much he spits, it can't compare to a punch in the face. Tang Ying panicked. She couldn't let Chen Guang make a move, so she hugged his arm tightly. Of course I know who he is, but what does it have to do with you? What's wrong with me liking young and handsome little brothers? You, Songming Yuan, are the chairman of a public company, Tiansong Water. Do you have to be so despicable? It's my freedom to be with whoever I like, okay? If you insist on pestering me, don't blame me for being rude. After that, Tang Ying didn't wait for Chen Guang to explode and ignored Songning Yuan. Tang Ying dragged Chen Guang away. Seeing the adulterous couple quickly walking away, Songning Yuan was so angry that his head was about to explode. He kicked the trash can next to him. With a thud, he hugged his toes and screamed, "Adulterous couple, this isn't over. Why did you drag me?" Chen Guang was dissatisfied with Tang Ying's change of topic. Tang Ying rolled her eyes at him. You only know how to touch me. Didn't I just say that you're a student of environmental protection, but you don't know about Tiansong Water? Chen Guang shook his head. I'm only in my 3rd year. Why would I need to know about the water? Is it that great? You really have a big heart. Go back and ask around yourself. Otherwise, you'll understand if you look it up on the internet. Tiansong Water Company, established in 2001, is a large-scale water company that integrates water supply, drainage, and plant network. It is the leading enterprise in urban water supply and drainage projects and water operation projects in Dachuan Province, with a net asset of more than 20 billion. On this side, Chen Guang had already looked it up and read it word by word. Now do you know how powerful I am? Tang Ying glared at him fiercely. You look so fierce just now. I think you're thinking of changing professions after you graduate, right? The water treatment industry in Great Chuan Province, whether it's the investment and operation of water supply or sewage treatment. Although Tiansong Water Company doesn't have an absolute monopoly, It's definitely a hurdle that can't be crossed. Chen Guang looked at her angrily. You still have a cheek to talk about me? Didn't you drag me into this? No matter how big the hatred in this world is, it can't be bigger than snatching a woman. Tang Ying was happily scolding him, but her expression stiffened when she heard that. She looked at Chen Guang apologetically. That seems to be the case. I'm sorry. Fine. I was just saying it casually. I don't really care that much. Besides, I'm considered an internet celebrity now, and I don't lack money. Tiansong Water Company is in charge of everything. So how can they care about what I eat and drink? Sister Tang Ying, if you're in trouble, don't even mention offending Song Ningyuan. If you want me to climb a mountain of swords and dive into a sea of flames, I won't hesitate. Chen Guang patted his chest loudly. Tang Ying covered her mouth and laughed. I didn't think that Lady Tong had such good taste before, but today I realized that she really has a unique insight. She dug out this treasure from the crowd and made it her little brother. After having dinner with Tang Ying, Chen Guang drove back to his neighborhood. It was already dark when he reached home. When he opened the door, he suddenly felt empty. In the past, he didn't realize how boring it was to stay at home alone, and he always complained that others were troublesome. But when he was really lonely and cold, he knew how happy it was to have someone by his side. Even if his third grandson from his dormitory was by his side, he turned on his newly installed computer and surfed the internet. He was delighted. The premiere of Tears for Rivers and Mountains Will Last was quite good. Although there was still praise and criticism, it was still rated as this year's domestic film with a conscience. The comments on the internet were not overwhelming, but the popularity of the film was not low in the past 2 days. Today, it had reached its peak. Film critics were commenting on the theme and depth of the film, and they were even giving pointers on the performances of the actors in the film. Jin Shuriwei and Jiang Ye's performances were as stable as ever. Both their beauty and acting skills were worthy of their status as outstanding young actors. A few of the older men also had a breakthrough in their performances, especially the second male lead who played the villain. He had completely broken away from the shackles of playing the good guy in the past. The ordinary audience watching the film also had their own opinions, and most of them applauded the film. Only one person complained that Zhou Yu was almost like a paralyzed best actor, playing the role of a good military advisor as an Iron Man. However, in the middle of these normal comments, there was a bunch of strange comments. That's right, these people were not talking about the plot, the depth of the film, or the outstanding performance of a certain main character or supporting character. They were all talking about a certain deputy general who only had 33 seconds of screen time in the entire film. That was the character of Chen Guang. This is Goddess Jin's boyfriend, right? I didn't think he was very handsome when I saw the post last time. I didn't expect him to be so photogenic. His body is so good. This guy's acting skills are pretty good. I don't know why, but after watching the entire film, the thing that left the deepest impression in my mind was the close-up of this guy's face. P.S. I'm a man. Didn't the previous post say that he was a university student studying environmental protection? Why do I feel like he's a professional actor? I'm a senior in acting. I've already acted in a few films. I welcome everyone to follow my Weibo. No matter what you think, I think this guy can be a good actor. An environmental warrior who doesn't like to be an actor is not a good boyfriend. Previous poster, 6,666. Similar discussions took up almost a third of all the discussions about the movie Country. It was hard to tell if Chen Guang's short performance was too eye-catching or if the halo of being Jin Shuyue's boyfriend was too strong. In short, things inexplicably turn out to be like this. Perhaps the teacher at the cinema was right. Regardless of how good Chen Guang's acting was at other times, at least in the short scene in the movie, he was a master in acting. It seemed like a coincidence that the others were discussing the movie so enthusiastically, but it was actually because of his perfect performance. This was a very mysterious thing. It was difficult to find the reason behind it, but it was inevitable. If Big Beard Deng had known that things would turn out like this with Chen Guang's small role, he would have thought about it carefully during the post-production. Actually, he couldn't be blamed. After all, when he was doing the post-production, Chen Guang and Jean Shuriwe had nothing to do with each other. Man proposes, God disposes. Plans can't keep up with changes. The fake relationship between the two that was exposed became the straw that broke the camel's back. Not only were the major film review websites hyping up this matter, even his almighty Superman Weibo account became a little popular. There was a round of applause below. The audience and fans who wanted to watch the commotion were all clamoring. The almighty brother almighty was going to enter the entertainment industry next. Of course, there were also some who weren't so pleasant to hear. The general meaning was similar to what Songming Yuan had said today. At first, Chen Guang would get angry when he saw similar words, but after a long time, he was already very resistant to it. He couldn't be bothered to argue with these online trolls anymore. After all, if someone were to criticize you through the screen, there was nothing you could do even if you were angry. If you argued with every single troll, you would be angered to death. At this moment, a voice suddenly appeared on the internet. This person's words were quite thought-provoking, and people couldn't help but pay attention to it. Amidst the applause on the internet, Zhang Tianming, the male lead of Tears for a Country Will Never End, was the first to jump out and criticize Chen Guang. Everyone, please pay more attention to the entire film and not stare at some insignificant person. This is disrespectful to the other main cast members of the film. Some people should stop their hype. What's the point of making a name for themselves? What's there to brag about with a beginner's acting skills? He dragged the entire production crew to play for an entire afternoon and finally got through one scene. How dare he shout out to the whole world? Zhang Tianming's sudden attack caught everyone off guard. Perhaps he was unhappy that as the male lead, he had been robbed of the limelight by a minor character. Or perhaps he really couldn't stand the sight of Chen Guang and Jean Shuriwe flirting with each other. Jealousy burned through his heart. None of that mattered. In short, he was the first to criticize. With Zhang Tianming taking the lead, many people in the production crew of Rivers and Mountains who were close to him also began to criticize. I've been filming for so many years, but this is the first time I've seen such a shameless minor character. People nowadays really don't care about anything for the sake of fame. Some people don't have any abilities and only know how to use a woman's fame to swagger through the city. It's better to keep a low profile. Although there were many people who criticized him, upon closer inspection, most of those who were unhappy with Chen Guang were people who weren't present at the scene of the lake painting incident. They didn't feel any gratitude towards Chen Guang, so it was no wonder that they were like this. Chen Guang didn't care much about being criticized by the netizens. However, he was unhappy that the main cast of Rivers and Mountains was bombarding him one after another. I didn't do anything to provoke you. Is there need to do this? If he didn't say anything and continued to smear his name, he might really become the kind of person they were talking about. If I really made a name for myself, then I'll admit it. However, this has nothing to do with me. Okay? You're scolding me so clearly. Although you didn't mention my name, even an idiot would know that you're talking about me, right? It had to be said that under the Weibo posts of Zhang Tianming and the other main cast members who criticized him, there was indeed a portion of people who believed it. After all, from the premiere until now, Chen Guang had become so popular that he himself didn't know why. Others didn't understand and felt that it was understandable that he had hired a water army. I was just saying that this person became popular for no reason this afternoon. I don't think his acting skills are that good. 3 seconds of footage and a topic that's even more popular than the main cast. I'll just chuckle. How many cents did this person throw out? Brother Tianming is right. Boycott this kind of shameless and immoral artist. Chapter 463. With someone taking the lead, the haters, who have been fading away recently, also popped up and rushed to Chen Guang's Weibo to start flaming him. In the past, Chen Guang had been flamed mainly because he had seduced everyone's goddess. But today, there was finally something new. Trash Chen, get out of the entertainment industry. You only know how to create hype. You've only been acting for 3 seconds, and you're already like this. If you were second male lead, wouldn't you be blown out of the universe? Scumbag. Scum. Goddess Jean must be blind to have fallen for you. No wonder you always wore a mask. You're too ugly to face people. Now that you've taken off your mask, is it because you've cultivated your skin to be thicker? You must have bribed someone to get into the production team. You've ruined such a good, big production. Therefore, there were a lot of idle people on the internet. Celebrities' flame wars were really the best pastime to pass time. On one side was the popular movie star, Zhang Tianming, and on the other side was Jin Shiyue's elusive boyfriend. Of these two, one had just worked with Jin Shiyue in Country and Throne, and the other had been quite popular recently. Now that something had happened, it was interesting. There were more and more people watching the commotion online, and more people followed up for time. After all, Zhang Tianming had been famous for a long time. His Weibo fans were no less than Chen Guang's, and his hardcore movie fans were even more than Chen Guang's. Less than half an hour after he started flaming, Chen Guang was really scolded on the internet. The haters said that he relied on women to get to the top, and more people really thought so. After scrolling through these comments, Chen Guang slammed the table. F*CK, they're taking advantage of me? I didn't say anything, and you guys really think I'm a pushover? He was so angry. When I was acting in this movie, I couldn't even wait to hide from the two of them, okay? Big Beard Ding asked me to be a cameo. What does it have to do with Jin Shiyue and Jiang Yage? He was about to type a Weibo post to scold him back. Don't talk to me about manners. My temper is just that bad. %yen% and in hashtag at. After typing out a bunch of vulgarities, Chen Guang received a new post on Weibo before he could even send it. Someone tagged Chen Guang. He clicked on it and was overjoyed. It was actually a Weibo post from the assistant director, Yang Shi, who had been tortured to death by him. Although Yang Shi was only a small character in Big Beard Dang's crew, he had some popular web dramas over the years, so he still had a certain level of fame. It's not my place to comment on other people's matters, but I believe that I have the right to comment on Chen Guang's acting. When he first came to the film crew, he was a greenhorn who didn't know anything. At the audition, his performance was terrible. Director Ding asked me to teach him step by step, and I almost started to doubt my life. But I have to point. It took him only half a day to bring out his on-screen performance. I think his performance is worthy of this movie. Then, Zhouya, the guy who always gave away money, actually stood up for Chen Guang. You guys might not know this, but I was annoyed at him at first. I thought he was wasting the crew's time, so I made a bet with him that he wouldn't be able to act. Then, I lost 80,000 yuan to him, and I was convinced of my loss. Tianming wasn't on set that day, so his opinion might be biased. I hope everyone can be more rational. Apart from these two, there were also some crew members who had watched Chen Guang save people during the lake painting incident. They all stood up to support Chen Guang. With that, the public opinion online was divided into two factions. But Zhang Tianming's faction was still stronger. After all, there was a popular celebrity leading the way. Yang Shi and Zhouya's support only made the public opinion slightly less one-sided. At that moment, Zhang Tianming posted on Weibo again. This time, he tagged a few people who had just supported Chen Guang. I wasn't there when the incident happened that day, but I know. I'm also very grateful for Chen Guang's bravery. After all, if it weren't for him, this movie would have died prematurely. But a movie is a movie, not a favor. If anyone can act in a movie just by doing favors, then you guys are underestimating your own profession. Acting is an art. I'm not afraid to offend people, but I can't tolerate sand in my eyes when it comes to pursuing art. This time, not only did he aim his gun at Chen Guang, but he also directed the fire at Big Beard Dang, who had given Chen Guang a chance. You're not done yet, are you? Chen Guang typed furiously on the keyboard for a while. I don't know which eye some idiot saw that I was hyping things up. He secretly watched the premiere and ran home happily. Then, someone held a pile of *T in his hand and tried to stuff it into my mouth. Thanks, but I don't like your taste. You should just accept it. Some people are almost in their 40s, yet they're acting like young people in their 20s. Their old faces are so cute that I'm almost embarrassed. If you really want to pursue art, you should take care of yourself first, and then others. Okay? He was talking about Zhang Tianming, but he wasn't complaining about Country and Throne. Instead, he was complaining about the terrible idol movie that Zhang Tianming had acted in the first half of the year. Today, when the box office of the movie industry was exploding, that movie didn't even make 50 million yuan. It was also scolded on the internet. It was a stain on Zhang Tianming's life. Ha! Brother Almighty has finally flipped out. I thought he would be able to hold it in much longer. Brother Almighty, well scolded. What art? You're so bad at acting, yet you can't bear to see others doing well. Even a minor character can be more eye-catching than a male lead. I don't know what you guys think, but if it were me, I'd kill myself with a piece of tofu. An old senior scolding a newcomer for no reason and still has the cheek to say that he's hyping things up. That's right. Zhang Tianming feels that he's almost past his prime. He's in a hurry to hype things up to increase his popularity. It's urgent and crucial. Brother Almighty, ignore him. Don't let him use you. These were the fans who supported Chen Guang. However, those fans of Zhang Tianming were furious. They were like cats whose tails have been stepped on. They rushed to Chen Guang's Weibo and said all sorts of nasty things. Zhang Tianming's sore spot was caught by Chen Guang. He was disgusted and replied on Weibo, "You're still saying that it's not hyping things up? Don't you want to use me to become famous? I'll make you famous." Okay. After saying that, he tagged Chen Guang again. Chen Guang, the one who stirs up trouble first, is a scumbag. Zhang Tianming, what kind of manners are you? Can you talk about the matter as it stands? Chen Guang, no matter how bad my manners are, I'm still better than the scumbag who stirs up trouble first. Talk about the King High matter. And you're still a university student. You're full of vulgarities. I say what kind of person I meet. I speak human language when I meet people. I speak nonsense when I meet ghosts. And I speak vulgarities when I meet dirty things. Yo, you're a celebrity, an artist, and a public figure. A best actor is scolding people. Everyone come and see. A best actor is greeting someone's family. How can this kind of trash be a best actor? Zhang Tianming. As a popular movie star, he did not have much experience in scolding people on the internet. Especially when he was putting on airs. He was not used to Chen Guang's unorthodox way of saying scumbags every time he opened his mouth. He also wanted to be a hoodlum like Chen Guang, but he had to cherish his reputation. He could not do it. While Zhang Tianming was scolding him into silence, another two people jumped out. In the end, just as the two of them appeared, Chen Guang said again, "The scumbag things Shar-Pei came to bite me together. I'm just a small character. Did I dig up your ancestral grave or step on your father's memorial tablet? Come on, come and scold me. Come and stir up trouble. Don't stop. If I don't curse 18 generations of your ancestors to death, will my surname not be Chen? F***CK your mother. Do you really think I'm a sick cat if I don't show my prowess?" What did it mean to have tens of millions of internet celebrities scolding people? It meant that once they started scolding, there would be millions of people watching the show in an instant. Chen Guang's unorthodox way of scolding stunned Zhang Tianming and the others. We're just scolding people secretly, but you're full of vulgarities right off the bat. It's different from the scolding battle we've seen before. You're a famous internet celebrity, a public figure, yet you're scolding people shamelessly. You have no sense of propriety. They had never seen such a celebrity before, so they were completely defenseless. Chen Guang didn't usually like to use vulgarities, but this time he was infuriated. I'm not even close to you, so why am I in a mood to play subtle with you? You make me unhappy, so I'll scold you first. Seeing that a large group of people couldn't retaliate against Chen Guang's scolding, the onlookers nearly burst into laughter. Even Yang, Shi, and the others, who were speaking up for Chen Guang, were sweating profusely. They even pitted Zhang Tianming. Superstar Zhang thought that this was a normal scene of celebrities scolding each other to create hype. But in the end, they didn't play along. You're deflated, right? You're angry, right? You want to scold back, but you're afraid of ruining your image, right? You're embarrassed, right? Aren't you asking for it? Through the computer, Zhang Tianming slammed the table. F***CK. This scumbag. He's too despicable. I want to scold him to death. With that said, he started typing on Weibo. F***CK. Before he could send it out, his agent stopped him from doing so. Brother Tianming, don't. Please don't. He's a country bumpkin, but we don't have to be like him. Bam! Zhang Tianming slammed the table again. So I'm just scolding him for nothing? The manager thought of an idea. This guy is a public figure, and his words are full of vulgarities. I'll call the Weibo company to block him. We've been working with the Weibo company for so many years, so we have to give them some face. Zhang Tianming rolled his eyes. That's a good idea. We'll block him first before trampling on him. 2 minutes later, his manager hung up the phone with a bitter expression. Weibo doesn't agree to it. They even said that they can't control this almighty Superman account. Zhang Tianming was dumbfounded. Why? The manager shook his head. I don't know either. What do we do now? Zhang Tianming glared. The manager continued to shake his head. I still don't know. About 5 minutes later, Zhang Tianming finally replied, I don't want to waste my saliva on people without manners. People like you aren't welcome in the entertainment industry. The manager said cautiously, Brother Tianming, won't we offend Jin Shuriwa too much by hyping him up like this? What if Jin Shuriwa stands up for Chen Guang now? Wouldn't the situation be disadvantageous to us? Chapter 464. Zhang Tianming shook his head. Don't worry about that. Although Jin Shuriwa has a powerful background, she hasn't suppressed anyone in the industry all these years. We didn't provoke her. We're just stepping on Chen Guang a little. It's still uncertain whether these two will succeed in the future. Besides, if Jin Shuriwa really supports Chen Guang, doesn't that prove that I'm right? All men cared about their face, and it was the same for Chen Guang. Speaking of which, it's really infuriating. It wasn't easy for him to act in a blockbuster movie, but a small character is actually shouting louder than me. I don't believe there's nothing fishy going on here. Zhang Tianming was right about this. Chen Guang had just restrained Jin Shuriwa and Jiang Yage over the phone, telling them not to get involved in this matter and to pretend that they didn't see anything. Don't worry about it. Look at what the internet is saying about me. Don't you think I'm being wronged? I haven't even done anything, but people are scolding me for living off a woman. This isn't the first time I've heard this today. In the afternoon, when I was watching the premiere at the cinema, I was also scolded like this. It's intolerable. Chen Guang slammed the phone down and planned to continue scolding. At this moment, an important figure finally spoke up. Big Beard Deng updated his Weibo. He didn't mention names, but just said, when I, Big Beard Deng, make movies, I never care about relationships. Even if it's my son, it's impossible for him to get away with it. I can't stand a single grain of sand in my eyes. Chen Guang's acting is very good, and I like it very much. Although he has never studied performing arts professionally, as Yang Shi said, he is very talented. I haven't even seen a young actor who is more talented than him. Are you interested in playing a supporting role in my next movie? You're still a little lacking as the main lead, but you can take it slow. Deng Xiaojiang directly Chen Guang at the end of this Weibo post. Big Beard Deng publicly invited Chen Guang to act in a movie. A single stone caused 1,000 ripples. Just a moment ago, Zhang Tianming had said that no one in the entertainment industry welcomed Chen Guang. In the blink of an eye, a big-shot director like Director Deng had actually asked him to act in a movie. This slap in the face had come too abruptly. It's true that you're a popular movie star, but he's the chief director. Do you think he has a better eye for people than you? Moreover, this was the famous director, Deng Xiaojiang, who was famous for his strictness. He wasn't some small fry who could enter the crew just by bribing them. Chen Guang was amused. My uncle is still the best. Look, with just a word from my uncle, all the doubts have been dispelled. Looking at Deng Xiaojiang's Weibo post, Zhang Tianming felt as if he had eaten **T. He didn't expect Chen Guang and director Deng to have such a good relationship. He couldn't figure it out. After all, he was a veteran actor who had been in the industry for many years. Big Beard Deng didn't give him any face at all. Although he didn't scold him by name, this was worse than scolding him directly. He really couldn't say a word for a long time. Since then, the online scolding war on the night tears will run dry was announced to have come to an end. The group of haters led by Zhang Tianming had been completely defeated. They didn't win in scolding people. They were scolded to death by Chen Guang. They didn't even resist. Instead, Big Beard Deng stood out to express his stance. They managed to stir up some fame, but unfortunately, it wasn't a good one. Others only remembered how helpless and cowardly they were after being scolded. Chun Guang chuckled as he looked at his computer and replied to Deng Xiaojing, "All right, I won't let Uncle down." He thought that Big Beard Deng was just saying it casually to keep up appearances. He didn't want to take it seriously. Unexpectedly, within 30 seconds, Big Beard Deng personally called him. "Then it's settled. I'll send you the script in 2 days. You'll play the drug addict's second male lead. Think about the role yourself. We'll probably start filming next month." Chun Guang was dumbfounded. "Uncle, are you serious?" "Duh. Do you think I'm joking with you? Don't shirk it, it's settled. To tell you the truth, if you don't come, we won't be able to continue filming. You'll understand when the time comes. I can't explain it in a few words now." Then, Big Beard Deng hung up the phone. He obviously didn't want to give him a chance to shirk it. Chun Guang held his phone in a daze and looked up at the ceiling. He thought to himself, "Uncle, although my performance in Rivers and Mountains was quite good, there was a special reason for it." While he was in a daze, he saw that Big Beard Deng had updated his Weibo again. "I've just talked to Chun Guang over the phone. I'll announce that Chun Guang has officially joined the cast of women and will be playing the second male lead. Please look forward to it." Damn, I've been forced to do something beyond my capabilities. Chun Guang suddenly came back to his senses. With my lousy acting skills, how can I be the second male lead? I can still try to play the tree, and the second tree is barely up to the task. Isn't the second male lead worth my life? You've put me in a ditch just because of a disagreement. While he was still in a daze, Jiang Yage called again. Chun Guang, is what Big Beard said true?" Chun Guang said weakly, "I think maybe it's mostly true." Jiang Yage was amused. "That's good. I'm going to sign a contract with him. The role that he's given to me will be kissing the second male lead. I didn't want to take it at first, but if you're the second male lead, I'll take it." Then, she hung up the phone again. 30 seconds later, Jiang Yage and Big Beard Deng updated their Weibo accounts almost at the same time, announcing that the role of the first female lead had been decided. Everything happened so quickly that Chun Guang couldn't react at all. When he finally came back to his senses, he stomped his feet and said, "I've been tricked. I've definitely been tricked. No wonder they said it had to be me. After all this time, I've really been living off Jiang Yage. She must have told Big Beard not to do the kissing scene, so she pushed the blame onto me." He was also pounding his chest and stamping his feet, regretting what he had done. "Uncle, don't be like this. I thought you were going to lend me a helping hand at a critical moment, but you came with a cage. Although I managed to muddle through acting in Country and Throne, there are too many scenes for the second male lead. I can't possibly rely on hypnosis every day, and Lily might not agree to it either. What should I do?" Just as he was lamenting in his heart, he felt that something was amiss. My Faith? He suddenly realized something. It seemed like the production of Faith had increased a little. A few days ago, the production was about 30,000 points a day. This evening, after he came back and argued with people online for 2 hours and made a few phone calls, the production of Faith had actually increased by more than 3,000 points, reaching a total of 34,000 points a day. The Alto statue had originally been producing 20,000 points a day, but the increase wasn't much, only about 500 points. The pencil statue's production had skyrocketed from 60 points a day to nearly 1,000 points. The piano statue's production had increased from more than 1,000 points a day to about 2,500 points, a net increase of 1,500 points. The production of the 3 great statues of alto, pencil, and piano had increased by a considerable margin, but the Dota statue had not moved. Why was that? After a careful examination, he realized that when he was arguing with people, he had attracted a lot of new viewers who were not fans of the almighty Superman account. Perhaps they had come to criticize him, or perhaps they had come to support him. Anyway, after the incident, they seemed to have watched the historical videos that he had previously posted one by one. As a cultured and talented internet celebrity, the videos that Chun Guang had posted were all genuine and could make people have the urge to worship him after watching them. The fact that the alto statue could still increase was a pleasant surprise, but on second thought, it wasn't strange. Although he had made a big name for himself in the Xiangjiang gambling race and became a well-deserved god in the underground racing world, underground racing was ultimately a small circle, and he had not won any rankings in internationally famous racing competitions. Others might be thinking about who's the fastest racer, but their admiration for Chen Guang wouldn't be comparable to them calling out Chen Guang as the fastest racer. Attracting people to watch the video again was equivalent to making his originally illusory image in people's hearts more tangible, and it was understandable that the faith value would increase. The pencil statue's increase was so astonishing that it had increased by more than 10 times, which was normal. Those who had not seen his video would wonder who in the world was the best sharpener in the world. This was simply a qualitative change from nothing to something. As for the Dota statue, it was also normal that there was almost no increase. The record of 10,000 points in the 4 servers was right there, and players around the world could see it. Some time ago, when he was live streaming to increase his points, the rhythm of Tieba and forums exploded. Almost all the Dota players knew about it, and the fans that should have come were already there. The reason why it didn't increase now was because it had reached its peak. After all, there were only so many players in this game. Seeing the faith value and his popularity increase, Chen Guang was extremely happy. This was really not a loss. Looking at the comments below Weibo, he knew the change. Oh my god, this pencil sharpening, is he even human? I'm a professional racer. Just now my coach and teammates asked me why I was kneeling and playing with my phone, and now they're kneeling on the ground with me. It's my lifelong regret that I couldn't see Brother Almighty's live broadcast of the piano performance. Fortunately, there are videos here. I hope the Almighty will update more videos related to the piano. I'm your piano fan, strongly requesting Almighty to participate in the WRC rally. Don't you think it's scary? Sharpening a pencil like this in 1 second. Isn't sharpening pencils the best? I'm the head coach of the Volkswagen team. I really can't contact the blogger, so I can only reply to the comments here. If Mr. Chun is interested, please contact me to join the Volkswagen team. This was actually a reply from a verified Weibo, and it was really a team coach. Reading these replies one by one, Chen Guang grinned. Earning faith value was happier than earning money. Cursing on the street could also gain new fans. What a pleasant surprise. Not only that, even his Weibo fans had increased to more than 11 million. He hoped that there would be a few more weak opponents like Zhang Tianming in the future, so that he could not only scold them for fun, but also increase his popularity. Chapter 465. However, there was one thing that made him particularly regretful. There were also a lot of comments from fans under the dart throwing videos, but because there was no statue, these fans could not be converted into faith points. Chen Guang was anxious. He did not know what the problem was. The dart throwing statue had not been built yet. If it really doesn't work, should I try to do both a live broadcast and Weibo tomorrow? After making up his mind, Chen Guang first called Xiao Chong to inform him in advance. He planned to do a live broadcast of the dart-throwing competition tomorrow afternoon. Since it was a live broadcast, he couldn't stay at home alone. Chen Guang also found a famous dart-throwing club in Wujing on the internet and prepared to go directly to the venue tomorrow morning. Since he was going to do it, he had to do it the best. Therefore, he had to take a shower and change his clothes. Then, he calmed down and adjusted his state of mind and state. After doing this, he decisively lay down on the bed, quickly meditated, and then fell asleep. The next morning, before he had time to go out, he received good news. Weibo's social media traffic fee had been received. No more, no less. It was exactly 1 million in cash. Normal social media with tens of millions of fans did not have such a high advertising commission. Those who understood would know that the same tens of millions of fans Chen Guang had were all living users who could provide real click-through rates. Some celebrities with 40 to 50 million fans had less than a third of Chen Guang's Weibo comments and reposts. He was worried that he did not have enough money to get a membership card for the dart-throwing club. Weibo's company was kind enough to give him a big gift. He went to the breakfast shop at the entrance of the community and ate 3 big buns and a bowl of porridge. He enjoyed the joy of a commoner's breakfast. Then, under the gaze of some girls in the community with ulterior motives, he drove out in his phaeton. Nowadays, sunglasses were a common item. Without them, it was almost impossible to move. Fortunately, he was not famous enough at the moment. After all, there were only a few people who could recognize him from his face and figure. A pair of sunglasses was enough. When he arrived in the city, he went to the place he had inquired about. Darts could be considered a minority among the minority. In a vast Wujing city, there were less than 5 clubs that specialized in this line of business. The club that Chen Guang had chosen was currently the largest. At about 10 o'clock in the morning, he leisurely arrived at the place and walked into the empty hall. It was so quiet that a sneeze could scare the soul out of a person. The girls at the front desk were quite pretty. They tidied themselves up cleanly and looked energetic. "Hello, sir. Are you here to register for the competition?" One of the petite receptionists put down her phone and gave Chen Guang a professional smile. Chen Guang hesitated in his heart for about 3 seconds. With the old man's current status and the old man's extremely handsome beauty, oh no, appearance, if he put the UBS black card on the counter and asked for a number, he would definitely get it. What prompted him to dispel this idea was that he keenly discovered a few words on the front desk girl's phone screen. She seemed to be a novel reader. If I'm not mistaken, isn't the title of the book by Nyangzi's Unlucky Wife, How Many Times Do You Love Me? I'm a young man with ideals and pursuits. I can't ruin my reputation in this kind of place. I have to keep a distance from this kind of girl who has a different outlook on life and the world. No. I'm not here to register. I just want to ask, how much is one membership card? What kind of model is this? What kind of venue can you provide me? He said, and then took off his sunglasses. Aren't you Chen Guang? As soon as the sunglasses were taken off, the girl directly screamed. The few people next to her also turned their heads when they heard this. In the spacious hall, there was a lot of chatter and it was very lively. Chen Guang broke out in a cold sweat. He was recognized so quickly. Fortunately, he kept his integrity just now, or else his reputation would be ruined in minutes. How free are you guys all day? Even the slightest movement on the internet makes you guys pay attention to it. I took off my sunglasses for less than 2 seconds, and you guys already recognized me. Aren't your reactions a little too fast? With a smile, he flicked his hair and replied, "Not bad. I'm indeed Chen Guang." Seeing that he admitted it so straightforwardly, the girls were even more excited. "You're more handsome in real life than you look on the internet." A short-haired girl handed the phone forward with a red face, pointed to the screen, and said, "Celebrity? I actually met a celebrity. All-around Superman. I'm a fan of your Weibo. Look, this is the message I posted yesterday." Chen Guang looked down and blushed. This girl was very bold and very violent. Hubby F***CK me. Oh, not this one. The short-haired girl took the phone back in a panic and stole a glance at Chen Guang, looking like she wanted to welcome him. Chen Guang grinned. "I admire decisive and bold fans like you. Let's go to the toilet next door and talk about life." She took the phone back again. The previous one was wrong. "It's this one." When Chen Guang took another look, his face turned even redder. He had no idea what to say about people nowadays. This comment was even more beastly than the previous one. It was written, F***CK stop. The girl next to her was unhappy. "Hey, Xiaofeng, aren't you ashamed? He's Jean Shiyue's boyfriend. How could he like you?" The short-haired girl called Xiaofeng heard this and immediately shrank to the side. "Yes, but brother all around, can you give me an autograph?" "No, I can like him. To be honest, Xiaofeng, you're very beautiful. This curvy body is very worthy of the old man's aesthetic standards." Hee, these beauties really know how to joke. His heart was about to spurt blood, but Chen Guang only put on a carefree smile on his face. He was quite mature and steady. With a sense of loss that was about to swallow him whole, he signed a few names on the notebooks for the girls, which was considered to have passed the test. "Yes, I got Jean Shiyue's boyfriend's autograph. I'm so happy. This is Jean Shiyue's boyfriend." Chen Guang silently raised his head and looked at the chandelier on the ceiling. He thought to himself, "Brother Chandelier, why don't you just drop it and smash me to death. I'm about to die. Because of Jin Shiryue's Weibo, how much sin would I have to suffer? He had never felt so remorseful before. Why don't I go back and announce our breakup on Weibo? What's all this fuss about? At this time, a middle-aged man in a suit walked out from the back office. He seemed to have tolerated the few girls at the front desk for a long time. Although there aren't many customers this morning, can you guys be more professional? Manager. A few of the girls exclaimed and quickly sat up straight, putting on a serious expression. Xiaofang's expression changed the fastest. Hello, sir. This is our membership system brochure. Please read it carefully. Our membership system is divided into 3 levels. The manager in a suit walked over and glared fiercely at the few receptionists. Then, he screamed with a voice that was sharper than a woman's. Oh my God. Chen Guang. Almighty Superman. Jin Shiryue's boyfriend. Oh my God. F***ck my ears. After all this time, you're the same kind of person as them. After living for almost 21 years, this was the first time Chen Guang experienced the benefits of swiping his face card. Without spending a penny, he became a lifetime diamond member of the club, worth 188,800 renminbi. The price he paid was that the manager dragged a few girls at the front desk to take a photo with him. In a few days, this photo would be hung on the wall together with a few other framed photos. Chen Guang looked around casually. There were already photos of Intral Asia Pacific CEO, Mr. XX, an unknown and unfamiliar famous actor, Mr. XX, and a former leader, Mr. XX. Thinking about it carefully, his photo could be hung together with these people. It seemed to be a symbol of status. He asked the manager to arrange a room for him. First, he casually threw darts in the club to get the feeling. Although his skills were already at the peak, he still had to carefully think about how to do some tricks to attract attention during the live broadcast. The time of the live broadcast with Xiao Tsong was around 12:30 p.m. That was the short lunch break for office workers and after school for the monks. It was the time of the day when he could get the most popularity. Xiao Tsong was kind. After Chen Guang told him about it last night, he started to build momentum on the internet. When it was almost noon, the news that Almighty Superman was going to start a new round of live broadcast had already caused an uproar on the internet. This was the reason why there was a lot of controversy when one was popular. The content of his previous live broadcast was the game Dota. The people who were attracted were either fans of the celebrities who reposted it or fans of Dota. In the past few days, the people who accompanied him in his live broadcast were basically people who really liked this game. There were people who criticized him, but there weren't many, and they were all concentrated in the category of Dota. Of course, in the end, he also showed his undeniable ability and made all the doubters shut their mouths. The only god in the world with 4 servers, no one could doubt him no matter what he said. But this time, in Xiao Tsong's promotion, he, as a game streamer, stopped broadcasting games halfway through and switched to broadcasting darts, which people couldn't understand. Those who didn't like him had something to say, especially the hired water army of Bamboo's rival platform. They were even more unscrupulous. What's so good about throwing darts? Is he treating people like fools? That's right. I think it's super boring even if I use my toes to think about it. He thinks he's a celebrity, and anything he broadcasts can be popular. Who cares if you want to watch it or not? Some people with a little bit of fame become arrogant. No matter how loud Bamboo's advertisement is, I'm not interested in watching other people throw darts. Just thinking about it makes me feel awkward. Once Xiao Tsong's promotion started, similar views emerged on the internet. Coupled with the fight between Chen Guang and Zhang Tianming, Zhang Tianming's fans hated him. They even formed a group to criticize his Weibo post announcing that he was going to broadcast his dart skills. Chapter 466. Chen Guang only smiled calmly at these doubts and negations. He then activated the membership function of Weibo and muted them. It couldn't be helped. Old Master Guang was just that magnanimous and never bothered with invisible haters. Little Tsong wasn't very confident about Chen Guang's livestream. He hoped that Chen Guang would broadcast games honestly. Even if he changed from Dota Tower to League of Legends, it would still be within the scope of games. With Chun Guang's standard, he would be able to maintain a stable live stream for a period of time. Coupled with Bamboo's disregard for returns, if he didn't become popular, Little Tsong wouldn't be able to continue his business. Of course, Zhongbai had also given him a heads up. He patted his chest and told him that no matter what it was, as long as Brother Racer God said there was no problem, he shouldn't be so suspicious and just go ahead and smash it. As long as he was willing to believe in him, he would definitely give him a bright tomorrow. It was noon, and Chun Guang's live stream was about to begin. His fans were waiting eagerly, and his enemies were secretly cursing him. At noon, surrounded by the club's receptionist, Chun Guang had a sumptuous Western meal in the club. The club's boss came late after hearing the news. He first praised a manager who gave Chun Guang his lifetime membership for free, and then went to talk to Chun Guang about the live stream advertisement. Frankly speaking, Chun Guang didn't know much about these things and didn't know how to ask for a price. Everything happened in a hurry, and he didn't even think about selling the advertisement rights for his live stream. The club's boss proposal came too suddenly. Chun Guang had to call Little Tsong, who was knowledgeable, to discuss this matter before he had a grasp on it. Both parties negotiated another ladder contract. As for how much he could get, it would depend on the number of viewers and the duration of the live stream. At 12:30, the live stream started on time. The pretty receptionist, named Little Fong, received a temporary task and was responsible for taking pictures of Chun Guang up and down with her phone. On the other side, the club's boss, who was a photography enthusiast, simply took out his digital camera and was responsible for recording the video, preparing to post it on Weibo later. Zhongbai, have you really seen him throw darts? Little Tsong was anxiously waiting in the live broadcast room. As he watched the popularity of the live broadcast room slowly increase, he felt very nervous. A few days ago, when Chun Guang broadcasted Dota, as long as it was broadcasted, in less than 5 minutes, the number of viewers in the live broadcast room could exceed 300,000. At most, in half an hour, all of them were more than 1 million. At the peak of the night, even 2 million live viewers were not a problem. Today's show was about darts. The content seemed to be a little too long, and the popularity was not as high as before. Little Tsong really could not calm down, so he quietly called Zhongbai to ask for some reassurance. He didn't expect Zhongbai to lose his temper. What did you say when we signed the contract? This is the first time he's changed his approach, and you're already so suspicious. How are you going to cooperate with him in the future? If you really don't feel at ease, I'll help you talk to him. Why don't you just cancel the contract? Little Tsong hurriedly explained that he didn't have such thoughts and was just feeling guilty for a moment. It wasn't just Little Tsong who was worried. Seeing that the popularity of the live broadcast room was not as high as before, the people who were scolding Chun Guang had something to say. In fact, Chun Guang himself was also quite troubled. Seeing that the popularity of the live broadcast was increasing rather slowly, and then looking at the bullet screen, one after another, saying that there were no games and that he was broadcasting outdoors, he unfollowed it and left. This made him even lose the mood to perform. Boss, why don't you help me shoot a short video first? Then I'll post it on Weibo to increase my popularity. 5 minutes later, Chun Guang posted a 30-second-long video on Weibo. There were no special effects or any editing. It was just him standing far away and throwing a few darts. Then, the club boss carried the DV and jogged all the way to the front of the target, just in time to see the few darts that he had thrown earlier strung together. There was a caption attached below: "The strongest unique dart technique in history. If you don't watch it, you'll regret it for life." After that, he didn't care about anything else. He just held the darts and threw them at the target. He even chased the club boss and Xiao Fong out of the training room. He only asked them to place the DV and mobile phone on the cabinet and film it in his direction. The popularity of the live broadcast room increased very slowly. Even though Little Tsong had thrown out a lot of advertisements, the people who initially clicked into the live broadcast room were basically here for the game. When they saw that he was not broadcasting a game, but a dart-throwing game, most of the game viewers ran away. On one side, the audience was constantly losing viewers, and on the other side, there were new viewers who were attracted by advertisements or Almighty Superman's Weibo. With one side decreasing and the other increasing, it was already good that the total number of viewers could still increase. Slowly, the number of viewers increased by 10,000. Until an hour after the broadcast, the total number of viewers had not exceeded 500,000. This was embarrassing. This time, Almighty Superman finally made a fool of himself. He forgot his surname after becoming popular for a while. Did he look down on others? How embarrassing, isn't it? He hasn't reached 500,000 viewers after broadcasting for half an hour. How embarrassing, isn't it? I'll just quietly watch him show off and quietly watch him suffer. If it's not a game, who would like to watch it? Even if I'm broadcasting Super Mario, as long as Bamboo gives me these promotional resources, my number of viewers will be much higher. Similar comments kept popping up in the bullet screen. Little Tsong had no other choice. He did not spend a single cent less on the promotional resources, but Dart's broadcasting was still too niche. Moreover, if he kept going against the target, there wouldn't be any fresh excitement, and it wouldn't be able to attract people. At around 3 in the afternoon, the number of viewers was stuck at 600,000. It didn't go up or down, and it couldn't move anymore. Shun Guang stared at his phone anxiously. He felt sorry for himself. There were only a few viewers, and there was no hope of getting the statue of God. At this moment, Azure suddenly said in his heart, "Didn't we agree before? How much time has passed in 2 months? You can count the days yourself. Anyway, I'll say the ugly words first. If you don't complete it within the time limit, you'll definitely experience what it's like to be the king of anal prolapse in one-line heavens. It'll definitely be beyond your imagination." Chen Guang was anxious. Don't do that. Unfortunately, it was useless. Azure didn't say anything again. The points of a certain Dota ID called Jiang Lu Hua were skyrocketing. She was really busy. Could it be that the old man's sea of stars was going to stop here? The owner of the heavenly Holy Grail had died of anal prolapse? I'm not convinced. At this moment, a certain pale-faced youth came to the darts club. It was someone Chun Guang hadn't expected, Shuai Lin. He pushed the door open and saw Chun Guang's battered appearance. He rushed up and said, "I've finally found you again." Shin Guang wasn't in the mood to waste time with him. He just thought that he was here to be his disciple again. I've said it many times. I can't teach you inner force. You win. I'm not in the mood to talk nonsense with you now. Shualin said anxiously, No. Brother Qingguang, I'm not here to learn inner force. Qingguang waved his hand and pointed to the phone. Wait, I'm doing a live broadcast here. Your identity is sensitive. Don't let slip what you shouldn't say. Shualin looked at the phone's camera blankly. Live broadcast? What's that? You and I are definitely not the same age. You're a pitiful person without leisure and entertainment. Shualin said seriously, I'm a soldier. My duty is to protect the country. Soldiers don't need entertainment. All right, shut up. If these words get out, you'll be swallowed alive by your comrades. Qingguang waved his hand impatiently. Go, I'm busy. Shualin seemed to be determined. He wouldn't give up until he achieved his goal. He lowered his voice and said, I've asked Uncle Wu. Your fist force can reach 800 kilograms, but you don't look strong. You don't even know inner force. So I think you must have a very special training method. Brother Qingguang, on behalf of the military, I formally apply to you to ask you to teach this training method to the military. This is a matter of unparalleled merit. This is more applicable than inner force. Do you believe that I won't beat you up? This is my trump card. You want to take it from me with just a sentence of unparalleled merit? Are you an idiot or what? Or do you think I'm stupid? Qingguang was annoyed by his words. He said it as if he would be a sinner if he didn't teach it. He couldn't stand this kind of saying that he wanted to take personal things and turn them into the country's. Shualin's words reminded him of a joke. Someone dug out a priceless Ming Dynasty cultural relic from his home and donated it to the country. He received a reward of 5,000 yuan. Haha. Besides, how could he teach his Qilin arm training method? If he really told him everything, wouldn't it make him think that he was a big liar? Can I tell you that my 800-kilogram fist force was achieved by hitting more than 2,000 brass fireworks? However, Shualin's appearance still made him vigilant. His performance was still a bit beyond ordinary people. It was inevitable that he would attract attention. Chen Guang thought, I don't know if Xuelin is doing this on his own or if he was instructed by someone. They can't get the inner force training method from people like Wen, so they're thinking of me, an ordinary person. This is not a good thing. I don't want to be dragged to be dissected and studied for no reason. Who can I find a reason with? I really don't mean that. As long as you are willing to teach me. Although Xuelin was handsome, he was really a martial arts fanatic. He made a decision in his mind and couldn't change it at all. He stared at Chen Guang and said so. All of a sudden, Chen Guang's expression turned solemn as he asked, Is this your personal idea, or did someone send you here? Xuelin was stunned at first, and then said without thinking, It's just my personal idea at the moment, but as long as you are willing, bang. Aren't you looking for trouble for me? Chen Guang punched him in the stomach. He was already angry. Last time on the Phoenix Spring Mountain, you and Uncle Wu helped me deal with the aftermath. I owe you some favors, but you'd better put away this idea in your heart. I'm not always so easy to talk to. Do you think I'm easy to bully, or what? Are you done? Xuelin still wanted to say something, but Chen Guang punched him in the stomach again, making him completely unable to resist. If beating me can make you change your mind, then beat me. Although Xuelin couldn't move, he straightened his neck and still didn't give in. Since I saw my brother die in front of me, I made up my mind to make myself more powerful. No one can shake me. His eyes flashed with madness. Chapter 467. Chen Guang fell silent. He knew what Xuelin meant. The first time they met, Xuelin had said something similar. Xuelin had single-handedly annihilated World 9 and his men without any injuries. Xuelin had led a special forces team to encircle World 8 and his men, but 3 of his comrades had died. Xuelin would definitely feel indignant. The last time they met, Xuelin had wanted to learn something, but he hadn't been this crazy. What happened? Chen Guang moved closer and asked softly. Xuelin took a deep breath and lowered his voice. He gritted his teeth and said, The day before yesterday, the Shattered World Organization launched a revenge operation. They ambushed 8 of my colleagues who were on a mission at the border. My 8 brothers, who had gone through thick and thin with me, are all dead. I want to take revenge for them. Chen Guang's heart tightened. What? Didn't you say that the Shattered World wouldn't dare enter the country? Xuelin lowered his head. That's why they did it outside the border. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have let my guard down. I should have known that they wouldn't let this go. If I had asked them to be more careful, they wouldn't have been ambushed when they were defenseless. If I had left World 8 behind, they wouldn't have died. I caused the deaths of my brothers. I can't accept this. I really can't accept this. As he said this, Xuelin's body trembled uncontrollably. He couldn't hide the pain and anger in his heart. Although Chen Guang hated Xuelin, he was still thinking about the people from Xuelin's Special Forces team who had helped clean up the mess on Phoenix Spring Mountain. Although Chen Guang had never spoken to them, he remembered that they were all energetic young men. He hadn't expected that after not seeing them for half a month, they would be separated from each other. If he were in Xuelin's shoes and his comrades died, he would probably feel as indignant and resentful as Xuelin. But you shouldn't have to face this alone, right? Didn't the military say anything? Chen Guang's tone started to soften. He didn't want to admit it, but he was indeed touched by Xuelin. Xuelin shook his head. You don't know the uniqueness of a Shattered World Organization. Although the Chinese military has always been strong, they can't do much about this kind of hidden killer organization. Unless it's absolutely necessary, the military won't openly declare war with the killer organization. This often represents a huge, unstable factor. Chen Guang nodded. He could understand what Xuelin was talking about. When facing hidden enemies, if they couldn't eliminate them cleanly, they couldn't easily start a conflict. Even if Xuelin's comrades had already paid the price of their lives outside the border, this matter was too important to be willful and reckless like a child playing house. If top-notch assassins like Sure 8 and 9 were to flood into the country on a large scale, The damage they could cause would probably not be inferior to a small-scale war. In a country that prioritized stability, this was an unbearable burden. I can't rely on the military. I can tell on I and I tion lin I gurition I lin yang. I want to fight against the shattered world with my own strength. My current strength isn't enough, Shuai Lin said. Seeing that Chen Guang was moved, Shuai Lin continued, I can swear to God that as long as you're willing to help me, I won't leak your secret. If I can make it back alive, my life will be yours from now on. Sister Wu Tong and I grew up together. She knows what kind of person I am. Please, on account that I'm Sister Wu Tong's childhood friend, help me. Chen Guang was briefly stunned by Su Tao's words. He couldn't reject Su Tao's offer. But I really can't teach you this method. I can't explain it to you, but I can only tell you that my situation can't be replicated. If I could teach you, I would teach you. But the truth is that I really can't teach you. Chen Guang helplessly sighed and continued, I can't bear to see you like this. Actually, you can teach me. At this moment, Liuli's voice suddenly appeared in his heart. Chen Guang was shocked. Huh? I can teach you? What do you mean? Liuli chuckled. Faith. It can't be. Faith has such an effect. Chen Guang was dumbfounded. Liuli nodded in his heart. There's no hope for him to reach your level, but it's still possible to help him strengthen a little. Pay about 600,000 faith points, and you can drag the target designated by the redeemed into a designated world in a cup and enjoy a short training service. As for the effect, it might be 1/3 to half of a normal world in a cup. It depends on the trainee's talent and luck. Take this young man in front of you. From my point of view, the effect of his training will be about 2/5 of yours. Chen Guang asked. That's an increase of 20% from his current level. Liuli nodded. Yes, 600,000 faith points. Liuli nodded again. That's right. By paying the faith points, you will have more control over the additional world in a cup. After all, this is a benefit that you have earned yourself. You can think of it as a value-added service of the Heavenly Holy Grail. It's similar to the Blue Diamond or Purple Diamond membership in QQ. This made Chen Guang overjoyed. Then, won't I be able to train whoever I want? This is too awesome. Liuli chuckled. It's not that simple. When you're training by yourself, with my protection, you won't die no matter what. But if it's someone else, I won't be able to protect them. A moment of carelessness and they will die. This young man in front of you is considered to have very good innate conditions among ordinary people, but his survival rate is no higher than 37%. Do you have to be so accurate? It's that accurate. What you train is only half-baked skills, and you can lose your life at any time. Are you willing to let your female confidants go in and die? Chen Guang shook his head. I really can't bear to. But this young man, you are willing to, right? Liuli asked. Chen Guang thought for a while. I definitely have to make things clear with him. If he insists, I have no reason to refuse. All right, this won't expose you, will it? Don't worry about this. The Heavenly Holy Grail still has some tricks up its sleeve. After it's done, he won't remember anything. He only knows one thing, and that is that he became stronger after waking up. Shuai Lin still didn't know that Chen Guang had already made an unspeakable PY deal with Liuli in his heart. When she heard Chen Guang say that he couldn't teach her, she just lay on the ground with an ashen face. She really didn't have any spirit left in her. He said quietly, forget it. If it's really fate, then I don't have any extravagant hopes. In a few days, I will try it alone. My brothers are all dead, and I don't have the qualifications to live on alone. Even if I die, I will drag a few people from the world shatter down with me. Chen Guang's gaze shifted. You really aren't afraid of death? Shuai Lin's expression changed. Of course. I'm a soldier. It's really good to be a soldier. I thank you on behalf of ordinary people. Chen Guang suddenly praised her. Shuai Lin was a little embarrassed. Don't say that. Actually, I didn't make any great contributions. On the contrary, I feel very incompetent. Actually, I have a way to teach you, but it will take some time to prepare. You're not in a hurry, right? Chen Guang suddenly changed the topic. Shuai Lin was overjoyed. Really? It's okay. I can wait. With a grin on his face, Chen Guang continued. but I'll say it first. This method of mine isn't guaranteed to work. If you succeed, your strength will increase by 20%. However, if you're not careful, you will die under my training. Your survival rate is only 55, 37%. Don't ask me why I can calculate it so accurately. Anyway, this is the probability. Will you do it? Oh my God. Increase by 20%. Xuelin's eyes widened in disbelief. Chen Guang felt that the training effect was reduced. However, in Xuelin's mind, it was almost a fantasy. As an elite Special Force soldier, he had long practiced the conventional training methods to the extreme. His innate conditions had also been developed to the limit. If he couldn't learn inner force, no matter how hard he trained, he could only maintain his current level. That was why he wanted to learn inner force like crazy. That was why he shamelessly came to Chen Guang for help. However, it was just a desperate attempt. Now that he suddenly heard what Chen Guang said, it could actually increase his arm strength by 20%. This was simply a miracle. This meant that his physical strength could surpass the shackles of his own innate conditions and reach another level. At the level of Special Force soldiers, the gap between the real top powerhouses and ordinary excellent soldiers was often this little bit of improvement. Everyone had practiced the conventional training methods to the extreme. As long as they could go one step beyond the limit and surpass the limits of human conditions, whether it was reaction speed or strength, any of these military qualities could make this Special Force soldier stand out and become the elite of the elite. He actually said he could forcibly increase it by 20%. I'm not dreaming, right? Then I will become one of the strongest soldiers in the entire Chinese military world. Is what you said true? 20%? You're not lying to me, are you? Xuelin asked with a trembling voice. Chen Guang's mouth twitched. Bro, what you're concerned about is not what I think. Shouldn't you be concerned about your own survival rate? Nonsense. What do I get from lying to you? 20% is nothing. Otherwise, where do you think my 800 kilograms fist came from? Xuelin nodded heavily. Okay, let's do it. You might die. It's not a joke. You might really die. Xuelin laughed. Even if there's only a 1/3 chance of survival, I can't resist this temptation, not to mention your survival rate is as high as 55, 37%. I have no reason to refuse at all. I have never been afraid of death. Chen Guang looked at his firm eyes and only silently said in his heart, what a handsome man of iron blood. Then the matter was settled. It was just that the pitiful production of faith value was only about 34,000 a day. It was not easy to save 150,000 before, but Luli casually used the cup to accelerate it. Now, it was very difficult to save more than 100,000. There was still a long way to go to meet the expenses of 600,000. This feeling was as embarrassing as finding out that the credit card had been maxed out before the Moonlight Clan had received their salary. It was not easy to earn some faith value. It was unavoidable that he felt sorry for himself if he gave it away before he even got it. Therefore, he could not help Xuelin for nothing. He had to make some contributions for himself. Chen Guang rolled his eyes and already had an idea. Chen Guang smiled. The old man is touched by your sincerity. I have no problem helping you, but before that, you have to help me do something small. Xuelin was at a loss. What? Chapter 468. 15 minutes later, the owner of the Dark Club was sweating profusely as he looked at Chen Guang and Xuelin, who was fixed on the big disc. His heart was pounding. This disc was used by an acrobat trained in the club. The acrobat's wife was tied to the disc, and then the acrobat threw a knife at the disc. The knife would graze the acrobat's wife and hit the disc. In order to increase the excitement of the acrobatic performance, the big disc could also be spun, and the performance on TV was perfect. This kind of performance was very exciting, and the acrobat was very popular in China. Now, he was not popular anymore. As for where he was now, in prison. How did he get in? The cause and effect of the incident was too bloody to talk about, so it was better not to talk about it. It was also painful, and everyone had to sigh. Now, the grass on the grave of the poor acrobat's wife was already 3 feet high. Bro, Do you really want to do this? This is not good. If something happens, I will not be able to answer to my superiors. The club owner tried to persuade him. When the acrobat had an accident outside, the whole club had to close down for 3 months. Although this incident had nothing to do with them, it was inevitable that they would be implicated. Chen Guang had absolute confidence in himself. He just waved his hand. It's okay. You can rest assured. Shuelin also said, Boss, don't worry about me. I am doing this voluntarily. I will never implicate you. The club owner's face was full of tears. He thought to himself, celebrities nowadays really know how to play. I'm so nervous. Otherwise, I should quietly call the police to stop these two lunatics. Shuelin reminded him, Boss, don't call the police. I am from the army, and I am the captain of the special forces of the Wujing military region. The police system cannot interfere with my decisions. In short, I believe in Bro Qingguang. The boss's face was even more bitter. Oh my God, you are from the army. That's right. Qingguang's plan was very simple. Seeing that throwing darts was not enough to make him popular, he might as well do something more exciting and scary. Live people as targets. Just ask the audience if they are afraid, and if it is exciting. I don't believe this won't be popular. When Chen Guang saw that Shuelin was so understanding and thought highly of him, he gave him 32 thumbs up in his heart. Although I've always been annoyed by you, I have to admit that you have good taste. Don't worry, my dart skills are world-class, no historical. Looking at the history of the human race for 5,000 years, this is definitely unprecedented. Even if I closed my eyes and swung it, I definitely wouldn't be able to stab you. Shuelin nodded. I know. I have a 37% chance of surviving. Chen Guang rolled his eyes. To be honest, I wasn't referring to this when I said probability. The boss was about to cry. He didn't know how the two of them calculated just now. The death rate was as high as 63%. This was the end. Boss, help me add some words to the live broadcast. He pulled the boss over. Chen Guang was not very familiar with the live broadcast on mobile phones. Add what? Gentle reminder, this is a professional performance. Please do not imitate it. Old version, this pitiful boss was really crying. The people in the live broadcast room also realized that the situation was not right. After Shuelin came in, the audience could not hear clearly what the two of them were mumbling about. They only knew that the two of them seemed to be very agitated and even got into a fight. As they fought, the white-faced handsome guy who just came in was tied up on a plate. Could it be that Brother All-Purpose was going to play it big? F***CK. He's going to play for real. Hurry up and hit 110. These two lunatics. Who can stop the two of them? Hurry. Is there any baller who can help Brother All-Purpose increase his popularity? Can you let him take a break? He's going crazy from wanting to be famous. What's going on in this young, handsome guy's head? How can he be so crazy with him? Not to mention the audience, even Comrade Little Tsong, who had been waiting in the live broadcast room, jumped up from his office chair. Oh my God, brother, you're playing with your life. I don't care. I'm going to call the police. No one can stop me. The live broadcast had been upgraded again. Previously, during the live broadcast, Chen Guang had used his phone to shoot from the side, where he was throwing darts at a target in the distance. However, with Xiaofang's enthusiastic help, the live broadcast had been upgraded to 3 cameras at the same time. One of the cameras was aimed at the big round plate with a human target hanging on it. Another was aimed horizontally to capture all the scenes in the training room. The third camera was aimed at the main character, Chen Guang, trying to show his image in the most grandiose way possible. Xiaofang, can you polish this phone? Can you polish it to make me more handsome? Chen Guang asked. Xiaofang nodded. Of course. The beautifying camera has a 10-degree polish. Which degree do you want? Do you even need to ask? Of course, it has to be the highest. All right. Forget it, don't polish it. I'm going to disappear. This isn't called polishing, it's called atomization. Although the club boss was very reluctant, he couldn't dissuade Chen Guang and Shuelin. After the police received the call from the enthusiastic crowd, they arrived within 5 minutes. However, no one could stop the two madmen, Chen Guang and Shuelin. At first, the responsible police intended to kidnap Shuel Lin directly. They thought that this young man must have been brainwashed by the internet celebrity and that he was playing with his life. However, Shuel Lin took out her military officer's ID. After the police saw the young man's position on the ID and said that this was a special and confidential mission, they didn't want to interfere. In desperation, the crowd forced Chen Guang and Shuel Lin to spend 10 minutes to write a contract, stating that this matter was decided by the two of them after careful consideration, and all the consequences would be borne by them. While they were busy dealing with these matters, Chen Guang didn't know that the number of people in his live broadcast room was skyrocketing. No one can stop Brother All-Rounder from seeking death. It's so pitiful. This young man is very handsome. How can he be a psychopath? Can anyone contact Jean Shuriwe? Call her quickly and ask her to stop her man. I'm Chen Guang's primary school classmate. I can responsibly tell you that this guy is dead. Strongly boycott this kind of unscrupulous streamer who disregards human life for popularity. I'm an acrobat from the Liaodong art troupe. I tell you clearly that he is committing a crime. It's illegal. Without professional certification and long-term professional training, this kind of behavior of using a real person as a human target is murder. Finally, an industry insider stood out to accuse Chen Guang. However, not everyone on the internet was cursing. Those that have watched Chen Guang's previous videos weren't feeling any pressure at all. They also understood that even if a mosquito was tied to a wall, Brother All-Rounder could cut off the mosquito's left leg without harming its joints, let alone placing a person there. Acrobat Brother, I suggest you go to Brother All-Rounder's Weibo first. Like God, please accept me as your disciple. 5 minutes later, Acrobat Brother returned. I'm pissing myself laughing. Acrobat Brother is kneeling. All in all, the popularity of Chen Guang's live stream did not decrease in the slightest even after half an hour of preparation. On the contrary, the number of viewers had exceeded 2 million, and it was still rising. An unknown enthusiastic police officer, Mr. Little Tsong, looked at the live broadcast in despair. He felt complicated and awkward. The popularity of Chen Guang's live broadcast exploded again. This was good news. Investing in him was definitely worth the ticket price. But he was courting death on his own website. If something really went wrong, Little Tsong expressed great pressure. Regardless of the noise outside, Chen Guang was very calm and ready to start work. Swinging his hand, Chen Guang smiled at the club boss, the receptionist, and a few police officers were looking at him from behind. Comrades, I'm starting. Shuel Lin roared, come on. Giving him a thumbs up, Chen Guang felt that Su Tao knew what was good for him. Everyone else might think that he was courting death, but only Su Tao knew that this was a piece of cake. Dad, Mom, I love you guys. Little Shui couldn't control his emotions and roared. Chen Guang, F***CK, what do you mean? Are you looking down on me? After today, I'll take revenge for my brothers. Then I'll go home and find a girlfriend to get married. Little Shui came again. Whoosh! A dart shot out like lightning and hit less than an inch away from Shuel Lin's earlobe. Chen Guang couldn't take it anymore. If this son of a B***TCH continued to make jokes, the old man's live broadcast would become an entertainment program. This isn't a talk show, so save it for me. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Another 3 darts flew out and hit Shuel Lin's armpit and crotch. After throwing a few more darts, this familiar scene, familiar feeling, and familiar method, Chen Guang felt like he had returned to the time when he poked himself into a hornet's nest in the darts world. How painful was that? How much pain did I have to pay? The blood that flowed from my body could even fill up the entire Cup World's pond. Only then was I able to master the God's Dart. It's time to use a magnificent performance to commemorate this old man's lost youth. This time, he grabbed 4 darts at the same time. The live broadcast room was filled with exclamations. 8 darts. Screams could be heard in front of the computer. 24 darts. Countless people covered their eyes in front of the computer. Spin. Chen Guang pressed the button, and the disc began to spin slowly. The audience felt their scalps tingle. The darts were thrown out like raindrops. Speed up. The audience dialed 110 again. The darts were thrown out like a rainstorm. Speed up. The audience was speechless. The darts were thrown like they were worthless. Stop! The disc stopped, and they could finally take a breather. Many people didn't dare to look at the screen. The police had already taken out their handcuffs and stood behind Chen Guang. Several white coats rushed out of the ambulance outside the club. Huh, he's fine. When the wheel came to a complete stop, people realized that little Shui was still in the same position. Countless darts crowded around him like grass, but none of them hurt him at all. God! Chapter 469. Unfastening the buckle, Shui Lin jumped down, stretched her arms, and shook her legs. Dang, 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 dang. I'm fine. I'm alive. Look at what you're saying. It's so unpleasant. I already said it's foolproof. Chen Guang was very displeased with this young man's humility. You're going to fight with the assassin organization to avenge your brother. Look at how scared you are by this little stimulation. You're disappointing me. Countless people in front of the camera also breathed a sigh of relief. They cannot believe their eyes. The wheel is spinning so fast. I think he's just throwing it blindly. He really didn't hit a single one. I thought the white-faced guy was dead for sure. Wow. When did the number of viewers reach more than 3 million? Just when everyone thought they could take a short break, Chen Guang and a few girls at the front desk quickly removed the darts and threw them into the basket next to them. Then, Comrade Lil Shui went up again. Again? Hasn't he had enough? Everyone was shocked again. Under everyone's gaze, Chen Guang said calmly, I'll step back another 10 meters. Little Cheng, the audience, the club owner, the police officer quietly took out his electric baton. Shall we just knock him out? Half an hour later, countless people were screaming and yelling. Comrade Little Shui was put down again and scathed. At this time, the number of viewers in the live broadcast had exceeded 5 million. They thought it was finally over. This torturous, frightening, and exciting live performance was finally over. They could finally go home after work and feel the warmth of home. Chen Guang said again, Xiaofeng, do you have a blindfold? F***CK. Blindfold? What the F***CK? Brothers, I can't take it anymore. I'm going to have a heart attack. I'm leaving first. Brothers, I'm back. I swear if Brother Almighty can really do this with a blindfold, I'll turn from a hater to a fan and be his fan from now on. Even if it's Brother Almighty's **T, I'll be able to smell it. The god of darts. I am omnipotent. Don't be in such a hurry to cheer. If something really happens, he'll be in jail. With so many people watching, even Jean Shuriwei won't be able to protect him. Even a celebrity's boyfriend has to go to jail if he breaks the law. That's right. If the emperor breaks the law, he will be punished the same as the commoners. Shui Lin was a battle-hardened soldier. He had been through a hail of bullets many times, so it wasn't like he hadn't tasted death before. He had seen his comrades lying in a pool of blood beside him with his own eyes. There were also bullet holes on his body. However, he never retreated, nor did he fear. He would never compromise, persevering in the righteousness of a soldier. He really didn't want to admit that he was very scared right now. To be honest, this feeling was even more terrifying than facing the enemy's gun on the battlefield. He could only watch as countless darts whizzed toward his face. He couldn't move, couldn't dodge. Again and again, round after round, it was like a never-ending nightmare. Every second, he felt dizzy from the spinning, but at the same time, he felt a fatal threat. The sound of every dart hitting the target was like a drum beating on his heart. At first, Shui Lin thought that Chen Guang was just playing around. Gradually, a thought came to his mind. A strange person must have something strange about him. There was no doubt that Chen Guang's strength was strong. With his body size, he could throw a punch with 800 kilograms of strength. This meant that he wasn't inferior to an inner force expert in some aspects. Therefore, a strong person like him wouldn't do things without a goal. This must be a test for him to accept me as his disciple. That's right. He wants to test my courage. If I want to become his disciple and learn his skills, I must have endless courage and guts. Let me face the threat of life and death again and again. Let me constantly squeeze out my potential under this terrible pressure and stimulation. You lied to me. You said you needed to wait for a while, but in fact, you've been teaching me the secret of becoming stronger from now on. Brother Qingguang, please allow me to call you master in my heart. After waiting for a minute, Xiao Fong ran all the way back, panting heavily as she took back her blindfold. Young lads, mortals, it's time for you to witness the ultimate skill of God's darts that transcends human understanding. From today onwards, I guarantee that no one will dare to say that they know how to throw darts in front of me. In order to show off his domineering attitude, Qingguang forcefully showed off his tragic acting skills and laughed loudly in a domineering tone. Then, he silently picked up the blindfold and prepared to put it on. Wait, why is it a Mickey Mouse? And it has 2 big ears and wings? Oh no, this blindfold doesn't match my current style. Can I return it? It seems like I don't have enough time. Millions of people are waiting for me to show off my power. If I forcefully return it now, it will affect the rhythm. It's like watching an award ceremony and forcefully interrupting the advertisement when the XX winner of the year is about to be announced. Forget it, I admit defeat. Therefore, he paused for a while and finally put on the Mickey Mouse blindfold that Xiao Fong passed him. The police officer burst into laughter. Ahem, be serious, be serious. Don't make any noise and disturb Qingguang. Another police officer reprimanded with a straight face. Then, he covered his mouth and turned his face to the side. The live broadcast room was also filled with laughter. I'm calling the police. Aren't the police just next to us? I'm laughing so hard. Oh my God, I can't take it anymore. I'm laughing so hard that my butt hurts. Just when everyone was laughing, Qingguang suddenly made his move. His big hand shook violently, and 8 darts flew out brazenly, heading straight for Shuelin. He really shot. Brother, you're a blind man with your eyes covered. Can you be a little more reliable? Do you really want to poke the handsome little guy into a hornet's nest? For a moment, the national average temperature rose by 2 degrees. Because the people who were sitting on their computers or watching the live broadcast on their mobile phones all sucked in a cold breath at the same time. All the cold air was sucked into their stomachs. I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. This is crazy, crazy, crazy. Who can stop this lunatic? Who can save the handsome little guy? Brother All-Rounder is going to heaven. He has once again refreshed my outlook on life. Under the dumbfounded gaze of countless people, a string of darts bombarded little Shui, who was sprawled on the ground like a machine gun. After a short while, people finally had the courage to turn their attention to the Big Wheel's camera. They saw that the elite warrior with a heart of stone and a body of steel, little Shui, was actually so scared that he closed his eyes tightly, and beads of sweat the size of beans dripped down from his forehead. Brother, this method of testing my willpower and courage is too sudden. You're blindfolded. Is this the legendary pear blossom darts that blindfolded? Although I don't want to admit it, I'm really scared to the point of peeing. After a long time, the continuous shooting of darts like a storm finally stopped for a short while. Everyone thought to themselves, since this is blindfolded, he definitely can't be as crazy as usual, right? It should end here, right? Everyone thought so in their hearts. Then, Qingguang quietly pressed the remote control. Time and space change, the split scene, the reincarnation turns, with the same belief. Damn, he's singing. If I hadn't heard Son Stephanie's Amazing yesterday, I would have almost heard your song as March of the Volunteers. Brother, you've gone off-key to the M78 Nebula. Feeling the vibration caused by the mechanical transmission behind him, and hearing Qingguang's ear-piercing singing, Comrade Shuelin shed 2 lines of regretful tears. Comrades, we were all wrong. He didn't plan to stop at all. Spinning blindfolded, there's definitely no other dart acrobatics performance on Earth that's more intense than this. No, this can't be called acrobatics. This is called courting death. Speed up. Help. He's still speeding up. Come on. Speed, changing spiral of destruction. The name of the move has been upgraded again. The club owner and several police officers who were in charge of escorting and watching the show were completely dumbfounded and on the verge of collapse. On the other hand, The few girls at the front desk who had nothing better to lose became more and more confident. While Chen Guang kept asking for darts, Xiaofang and a few other girls quickly moved all the boxes of darts from the club. Finally, the storm stopped again. The basket beside Chen Guang's hand was empty. There were no more darts. The number of viewers in the live stream officially exceeded 8 million at this moment. These were not agreement numbers, nor were they zombie fans. These were real live 8 million people. This meant that out of 187 people in the country, one person was watching Chen Guang's live stream. This number of viewers could even compete with the World Cup. It's over. It's finally over. They're free. The people's hearts that had been hanging in midair began to slowly fall. No one thought that watching someone throw a dart could be so exciting. Their little hearts were about to be squeezed to the point of bursting. At this moment, the blindfolded Chen Guang still did not take off his blindfold. Instead, he spread his hands. "Give me a knife." "Oh no, give me a dart." Xiaofang, whose mind was in a mess, suddenly stuffed the basket that had just been filled with darts into Chen Guang's hands. "Here. CKU, you're still coming." "Wait, what are you doing?" "It's just a game of darts. Do you really have to do this?" "Is your Russian name Don't Play Without Discomfort?" When the people saw Chen Guang lift the basket with his right hand, it felt like he was watching the countdown before the Shenzhou 6 spacecraft took off. Even the calmest man with a heart of stone began to panic. At least you threw it with your hands before. Now you're throwing it with a basket. How much is it worth? The police officers finally could not hold it in any longer. They rushed forward from the back. "No." Shuelin, who had just opened her eyes to catch her breath, saw the basket in Chen Guang's right hand and slowly shook her head with a pale face. "No." All the viewers in the live stream, "No." You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.